Am I live? Am I on? Is this thing on, gang? Can you hear me? Got a lot to talk about today. A lot of content for you today, and I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Keto burrito. Woo! Yay! Woo! Well, I'm glad that you're happy that I'm here. I'm happy that you're here. Dylan Bowser, a coup? I knew chat would rise up against you one day, Wick. Sad face. I think it's on. Well, yeah, I think it's on too. I wish chat would rise up against me, but chat is weak and feckless and impotent, okay? And that's, I wish I had a stronger chat, but, we'll get there. No, I'm talking about what's happening in the Democratic primary. I don't know what to call it now. The Democratic candidacy, let's call it that. For the last 5 days, yeah, about 5 days, maybe 6, there has been this constant drumbeat from certain circles that at first I was like, okay, calm down. Everyone calm down. Take a deep breath. Breathe through your nose. It'll be okay. We'll get this. We got this. It'll be okay. And that has increased in intensity and frequency. And I think now we are at a point where I'm genuinely frightened. I am genuinely scared. I am. I'm genuinely scared. Brew Crow, can it not just be free media doing their job in a democratic setting? There's that. So look. There are 3 groups of people. Well, no, there's 2. Really, there's 2 groups of people that are acting right now. Maybe 3, okay? So right now we have people who have genuine concerns. They saw Thursday's debate. They were shocked at what they saw, and they had genuine concerns, and they started raising the question, like, should Biden drop out? Maybe there would be a better pick. And I think that's fine to ask these questions. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's overblown. I think they shouldn't panic. I think they should calm down. But I get it. Fair enough. They're asking these questions in good faith. This has been, unfortunately, hijacked by a more insidious group of people. And this group of people are the Burning Your Busters, the New York Times elite, the editorial boards at major newspapers, right? The podcast crowd, okay? The people who never really liked Biden, who held their nose, right? Like, okay, fine, Biden. In the 2020 primary, they're always already pushing the too old stuff, right? And they were pushing for other candidates. They really didn't want Biden to win. Since Biden has won, there's a lot of them who said, oh, I'm never going to vote for Genocide Joe, all these things, right? The New York Times has been terrible at this. They've consistently undermined Joe Biden through their reporting. And you could argue that that's just their opinion. They're doing their reporting, and that's fine. But we have gotten to the point where people are making up lies, right? They're making up lies. The New York Times put this out today that, a source says that Joe Biden has confided in an ally that he's considering dropping out of the race. That was shown to be just not true, right? And it's these constant little insidious little gossip mongers, these rumors that are spreading like wildfire, being hijacked by people who really want it to be true, and they're just be spreading like wildfire. Panic is contagious, gang. Panic is contagious. And that's what we're seeing right now. We are seeing a party that is full-blown panic. And this panic is being, the flames of this panic are being fanned by bad actors, right? By bad actors who want to see Biden step down for a variety of reasons. And not all of them because they want the Democratic ticket to win in 2024. Remember, a lot of these people, and they said it in 2016, right? They said it in 2020, and they'll say it again in 2024. We're never voting for this guy. We want Trump to win, because if Trump wins, we know that we have a chance to get in on the action in the Democratic Party. We have a chance to once again regain power within the Democratic Party. $5 for pondering politics. Why would the media talk about SCOTUS making presidents god kings when they can remind people again that Biden is old? Exactly, Josiah, exactly. That's just one part of this, right? And again, not all of it is malicious. Not all of it is pre-planned. There's a lot of people who are just chasing the clickbait, okay? There's a lot of people who do have genuine concerns. It is a valid question. It is a valid question and a valid concern to have when you are looking at a president of the United States in this debate and he's having trouble, okay? That's a valid concern. I have that concern. But what is not a valid concern is when you start hyping up these just baseless rumors, okay? And for the most normal things, in the world, okay? So yesterday, a big to-do was reported that Hunter Biden was sitting in on some strategy meetings in the White House, right, with the president. This was like a lot of people, even reasonable Democratic voters, right? People I know who are pretty much blue no matter who, were like, this is just untoward. This is so weird. Why is it weird? Why is it weird? Again, assuming none of these were national security, anything you needed a clearance for, okay? None of that was reported. A lot of people assumed that, but none of that was actually reported. No one actually reported that these strategy meetings required a security clearance, right? If they did, and Hunter Biden was in on that without a security clearance, that's valid. But none of that was reported. That was simply made up as the tale got told, right? As it got passed from person to person to person to person, right? This got made up. We don't know. We don't even know what the meetings were about. No one knows. But people have assumed all this crazy shit about it. And do you guys not have families that love you? Is this it, right? Is that it? Did your mommy and daddy not love you? Maybe they didn't want you around. But Biden has clearly, one of the things that impresses me about Biden as a person is that he loves his family. He loves his sons. He does. And you can see this in how he talks about them, how he interacts with them. He's a loving father. He loves his sons. He loves his family, okay? I just don't, of course, if you were going through it right now, and he is, Joe Biden right now is going through the ringer. There's a lot of people from a lot of quote-unquote allies, right, who have decided to try to kind of oust him, right? He's getting pressured by outside forces to oust him, to step down. And yeah, in that situation, why wouldn't you want your family by your side? Again, as long as there's no national security clearance needed, as long as there's none of that, there's nothing wrong with that. Why would there be? But people kept saying as this is some kind of outrageous thing that have happened, right? And in this constant gossip rumor mill that's disguised as reporting is just frustrating to me for a lot of reasons, and that's one. What are you guys saying about this? Okay, Nair Sock says, clowns like Josiah were among those who said Biden was just fine, that Trump was the one with the problems. LOL. Well, Nair Socks, welcome to the show. Infallible Foul. I haven't even tried to I haven't even tried to overthrow Whitcord this week. Not this week, but I'm expecting. Parallax. Wick. If Trump had a crackhead son and he was in the White House, the left would be shitting on him for it, period. Okay. Here's the deal, Parallax. If you were president and I found out that you turned your son away because he was a bad look optically, I would be less likely to vote for you. I would think less of you as a person. If President Biden had, imagine this, gang. Hunter Biden says, hey, you need some help, Dad. I know you're going through it right now. Do you want to spend some time with me? And he's like, fuck off, son. You're bad optically right now. What is going on? What are you doing? That's insane, right? I mean, obviously, I'm being hyperbolic. There's better ways to put that. But no, Ivanka Trump, she was in the White House all the time. No one said shit. Well, they did when they got appointed to things, right? Her husband, what was his name? Kushner? No. Was it Jared Kushner? Yeah, I think it was Jared Kushner, right? Yeah, people were like shitting on him because he got appointed to like run the Middle East and things like that, right? To run foreign policy. Hunter Biden, as far as I know, hasn't been assigned to run shit. And there are valid reasons to have Hunter Biden in the White House, especially if they're strategizing about how to deal with fallout for something Hunter Biden has done or been unearthed in his past, about his convictions, perhaps, right? There's a ton of just perfectly rational, perfectly reasonable, perfectly understandable reasons for Hunter Biden to have been in a strategy meeting. But these people are reporting as if this was some sort of like faux pas. Gang, before this event, Hunter Biden had been in the White House and he had been in strategy meetings. I guarantee you that. Right? But no one said shit. It wasn't weird because of course he was. There's lines of Republicans that are attacking President Biden because of Hunter Biden's behavior, right? He is a part of the strategy that they have to deal with. It makes all the sense in the world for him to be in these meetings. I don't know. I just don't understand you guys. I really don't. Now, People's Elbow, Nair Socks, the Rob Noors, and all those people, right? I get it. They're Republicans. They want Biden to lose. I get it. Okay, you're going to attack them. I understand that. That's the game, right? But why are Democrats doing this? That's silly. Look, again, it's a soft coup. It's elitists, journalists, and podcasters who, for a variety of reasons, some good, some wrong, right? Some good, some bad, they don't want Biden to be in the presidency anymore. They want him to step down, okay? And they have latched on to this moment, seen weakness, and are using it as a pressure point to try to gin up a narrative, push this narrative, and I fear to tell you guys this, but it's true. This narrative is gaining ground. It's gaining momentum. It was a soft voice at first from a few people, but the flames have been fanned, and now we see this more and more and more coming from more and more and more sources as people hop on the Biden should drop out train, and it's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's going to leave us open to Trump 2024 victory. It is. Biden has the best shot. Now, I really do believe this. If I didn't believe this, okay, I'd say something else. I'd be like, okay, maybe we should look at Kamala Harris, right? Maybe we should look to see how she would do in this position, right? And we should start arranging things. But I don't believe that she could win. I don't think she's got the same. I don't think she got as much of a shot. I just don't. I don't think she has the popularity. She doesn't have the charisma. She doesn't have the ability, right? I don't think she can win. To be clear, if, and this would be a mistake, but if Biden is replaced, it has to be Harris for a host of reasons. And I will support her, and I will do everything in my power to get her elected because beating Trump is the goal. That's it. Beating Trump is the goal. That's what I want to happen. Trump has to lose, right? And I will use any ethical, moral, and legal means to do so. I won't lie. I won't cheat. I won't steal. But any ethical, legal, or moral means I can use to make sure that Trump loses, I will do that. I believe in it. Trump is a threat. And not just Trump, but his little follower cultists, right? The mindset around him, it needs to be soundly defeated at the ballot box. I don't want him defeated at the courthouse. I think that's a strategic error. I want him defeated at the ballot box. And I think Biden can do it. I still think he can. He's beginning to do what he needs to do it too. He's going on an interview on Friday on ABC News, right? He needs to do more of those. Biden needs to go and have a town hall meeting, right, in front of his constituents, and he needs to do several of these over the next month. People's elbow, I don't believe you. You've been saying this since 2020. I don't believe you. You've cried wolf too many times for me to believe you. And yes, he had a bad day, but then the next day, and even that night, did you watch after the debate? Did you watch him go to the Waffle House, him talk to his constituents, talk to the people there, hold the rallies? Then the next day in North Carolina, he did fine. He did fine. He's old. Yes, obviously. He has his moments. Yes, obviously. But this idea that he's unfit is just bullshit. It's propaganda. Propaganda. And for whatever reason, Democratic podcasters and journalists have decided to use right-wing talking points to attack Biden because they want someone else. This is a mistake. Strategically, it's bad for the country. It's bad for the party. It just is. Okay. Let's look at the options we have. Let's give you all this. We're going to replace Biden. Let's talk about it, okay? So, who are our options? There's Harris, Kamala Harris. I don't think she has the bones for it. I don't think she has the bona fides. I don't think she can win. But unfortunately, mechanically, like legalistically speaking, she's just the candidate that makes sense because the war chest that Biden campaign has amassed so far, the war chest of over $100 million, that's not transferable. You can't just give that to someone else. It has to be with the Biden campaign. There's campaign finance rules about this. This isn't transferable. It doesn't go to someone else. Harris probably might be able to use that war chest. No other candidate can. Hundreds of millions, 184 million, I think that's the number. Down the drain, gone. I'm sure some could be transferred, but most of it's going to be gone. It's just is. Ballots. Getting your name on the ballot. There are several states. Look at what's happening in Wisconsin, okay? That snafu that's going on, that legal battle. Imagine that happening in all fucking 50 states because we tried to get someone else on the ballot. Do you guys think the GOP will just let that happen? They have lawyers on standby right now waiting to conduct challenges to any ballot change that is done in these states. It's just true. The Naxalis says, okay, let's say the money issue is real, the ballot issue is real. Neither of those matter. The question, is Biden fit? That's the number one issue. I think he is. And if something does happen into office, to him in office, which is a possibility, that's why he has a vice president. That's why he has Harris. This is baked into the cake. It's built into the system we have. Biden is more than capable of running this country. He's done a great job for 4 years. What do you think happened Thursday? There was a flip that switched and suddenly he couldn't do it anymore. He had done it even just weeks before. He did fine on his G7 summit trip, right? He's done well in the Israel-Palestine issues, with the Houthis. He has been able to do this. And if you are going to argue that, oh, no, it was just his administration, well, yeah, that continues. $5 from Artemis Fowl. If the presidency was about scripted events and reading teleprompters, you may have a point, but he doesn't pass the eye test. You can't shake that. And here's the thing. I think that, again, the dip, right? Because he did lose the debate. He lost it. Yeah. There is a dip. but it's not outside of the norm of these things, right? Hobo Ryan says, do the GOP want Biden out or not? You said they want him out, but you just said that they were ready to legally stop him from dropping out. Which is it? No, they're not going to legally stop him from dropping out. They're going to legally stop whoever we replace him with for being on the ballot. One of the reasons they want him to drop out is so that they can engage in these lawfare, right? This lawfare, which they will pull, right, in order to challenge any other nominee we put. So that's why a lot of them do want him to drop out, because if he drops out, they now have these lines of attack that are open to them in which they did not have before, right? It opens up many different types of rat fuckery for them to engage in, which they absolutely will engage in. And if you think that they won't engage in, and then I got a bridge to sell you, okay? That's just absolutely going to happen. Yes, People's Elbow says, Wick, your party wanted lawfare, and we'll get it. Thank you. See, again, this isn't new. And again, like this idea that the Democrats started this is nonsense. Look what happened to Bill Clinton, okay? Look what happened to the Clintons. Right has engaged in lawfare since before I've been born, okay? That's always been their tactic. And they hate that we Democrats, right, have allegedly even looked into their shit, right? They want to be able to do it, but if you try to do it to them, they cry foul. That's just what they do, okay? This has been a constant refrain since I've been able to watch TV, okay? Crazy. It's crazy. And I'm upset because I'm really scared. I'm frightened, gang. I'm frightened because we have bad actors on all sides who are pushing for an outcome that's going to lead to electoral disaster come November. Again, if I thought we had a better shot with someone else, then I would say that. I don't think we do. I think that the metrics on the ground show clearly that we do not. It shows clearly that Biden is still the best shot. And yes, he's down in the polls. Yes, he has an upward hill to climb. Yes, it's going to be a struggle. But anyone else will be a bigger struggle. It will create more obstacles. There will be more hurdles. It will be worse, just worse. And I think that it takes our ability to campaign, our ability to unify, and it flushes it down the drain. $5 from Pondering Politics. Trump publicly tried to pressure his DOJ to prosecute Obama and Biden before the 2020 election. Yes, again, this isn't new. Okay. Adam Mockler, how you doing? What's up, buddy?
What's up? How you doing?
Oh, I'm fired up, man. I'm upset. What you got for us?
I can only talk for a bit, but I just saw that you were streaming and I wanted to hop in and chat for a few minutes. I got to return to editing. But how you feeling? What do you think? Are you coconut pilled, as they say?
I'm riding with Biden. I think Biden is the guy. I don't know how much of my rant you heard, but I don't think look, I'll say this. Whoever the Democrats nominate, I will work my ass off to get elected. That's just it. However, I don't think Harris can do it. I'm going to be real. I don't think Harris has the bona fides. I don't think she's young, but I don't think she has the name recognition. I don't think people like her. I think that even the appearance of people replacing Biden with her, right? Pressuring Biden out, it's going to depress the vote. A lot of people are just going to give up. And I don't want to see that happen. Now, I also don't think it can be anyone else but Harris if we replace him for a host of reasons, right? The ballot challenges that would come, the transfer of electoral funds, the building up of a campaign, right? With all that goes along with that. It's just a nightmare. It would be the campaign would be frozen for weeks as they try to get that together. I
agree with everything you said, and I will back Biden till the very end or until he starts a second term. But don't you find it kind of concerning that Donald Trump is basically like speed running a dictatorship with the help of the Supreme Court, and we don't even have a president that's able to like explain what's happening? It feels like Democrats aren't even unified at all right now. I know that's always been a problem with the Democrats, but like I wish I wish we could have a president that could go out there. I know he gave a speech after the Supreme Court ruling, but it just wasn't enough. And we don't even know if he can campaign. Like I know that he's
Well, did
not.
you see that speech he gave? The questions, right, when he ended the speech, they didn't ask about the Supreme Court. The questions being shouted at him were, "Are you going to step down?"
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, that's true. But like ideally, after the debate disaster, which I've rewatched it and it's not even that bad, but after the debate disaster, um, I feel like Biden should have immediately done a Fox News town hall. Like the next day, maybe not even Fox News, but show that you're quick. Do some sort of town hall, get out there and take that image away from that's like burned into people's brains.
I agree.
I don't think Biden should drop out. I think he's fine, but if he's not going to drop out, he needs to go out there and campaign. He needs to go do something. Like he can't just. It seems like he's just sitting around, right? What's up, Josiah?
What up?
Yo,
What do
so
you think about this?
yeah, go ahead, Josiah. I have thoughts because I disagree with that him just sitting around, but I agree with you that he needs to do more. So I guess I'm in the middle there. I think that
Maybe I'm not being charitable. He's not
Yeah.
just sitting around, but I'd like to see him do more media.
I agree with that. I think
Well,
he should.
they're probably super gun shy about Biden doing media, and I don't blame them. I mean, listen, here's the reality. I'm a cynic by nature, and I caught a lot of shit from my viewers and several people on Twitter because, yeah, I think that Biden performed disastrously. It did get better as the debate went on, and Trump also performed disastrously too. He's just graded on a curve, right? So he lied much more than Biden. He didn't answer questions substantively. He would go back when given a chance to answer questions to try to get the last words on the previous one. But Biden and Democrats are held to a higher standard. Biden screwed up spectacularly, and that's where the focus has been. So the campaign's probably gun shy enormously about putting him out in front of media. As far as I'm concerned, there are two roles that Biden has to play. He has to be president, and he has to be the candidate. And these two things are not necessarily correlated. You could probably be an objectively really good administrator, but a terrible candidate. And I have no doubt that Biden is a good president. And again, this is the thing that I love to point out. Biden has had an infinitely more successful executive and legislative agenda than Trump. Period. Even if you take the values, like even if you think that what Biden has done is terrible, right? Like you don't support the PACT Act, which expanded healthcare for veterans, happened under Biden, not Trump. Biden's better than Trump, but whatever. Let's say you don't want veterans to have healthcare. The fact that he got it done and Trump didn't is a point for Biden. Infrastructure is a great example. Apples to apples comparison. Trump campaigned on having infrastructure week. He was going to revitalize American infrastructure. He failed. Biden succeeded in first term. So even on these points of comparison, even if you take the value judgment out, Biden is objectively better. But then he has to be candidate too. And there's no doubt that he is a weaker candidate in 2024 than he was in 2020. And it's tough. So for me, beating Trump is the most important thing. As long as Biden is the best chance to do it, I'll back Trump. But at the end of the day,
Well, what do you think? Like, no, that's kind of a non-statement, though, Josiah, right? As
no,
long
it's
as
not.
Biden's the best. Yeah,
Well,
sure.
no,
Do you
because
think
I
he's
don't.
the best? Like, clearly.
I don't know. And I don't think there is a way to know that because the polling is kind of, it goes back and forth. There's some polls which indicate that, Vice President Harris and Pete Buttigieg and, Andy Bashir, I don't think it's Bashir, but there's a couple of other candidates are in spitting distance of Trump, of Biden, and they don't have his profile, his name recognition, et cetera, and so forth. So you can say, well, they're polling worse or about as well, but Biden is basically maxed out on advantages, and they are not. So it's possible that if you put a replacement candidate in, they would do better. I don't know. That's why after the debate, I actually even haven't talked much about who should be replaced or not, because I need to leave it to the pollsters and the actual Democratic strategists at play here. All I'm saying is what we should not do is have such loyalty to Biden that we look at trying to reelect him as a vanity project. I think he's been a good president. I'd love to reward him for his good term with a second term, but beating Trump is more important. And it's like somebody should be telling him, Mr. President, with all due respect, beating Trump is infinitely more important than giving you a second term. So giving you a second term only matters in as much as you're the best candidate to beat Trump. And if you're not, then you should shut the fuck up and step aside, do the right thing. And that's the only thing that really concerns me, as I've been hearing reports, or we've all have, that Biden is considering dropping out or he's talking to his family. I actually am comfortable by those conversations. I feel more comforted knowing that Biden is aware of the problem and he's not indulging in, that Irish Catholic 80-year-old stubbornness. But there's some reports to indicate that he's not, that he's just reflexively said, no, I'm staying in come hell or high water. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And right now we're just watching like a train wreck in slow motion. Some of these polls that came out today had me dooming. But like, it's weird because, like you said earlier, like, how, to build on your point, Biden passed an infrastructure bill that Trump couldn't, and that was a function of Biden's age and experience and being able to reach across the aisle. Trump could never do that. But also now, because of a function of his age, that same thing, it's just like he can't effectively campaign against Trump. Like, I don't know if you heard what I was saying before you hopped in, but I want a candidate who's able to go out there and explain succinctly to the American people why the Supreme Court ruling was bad. I know Biden gave a speech, but it was just kind of meh. Go out there and explain the fake elector scheme, all of this stuff. Like, it would be so nice. But I will back Biden until the very end. I'm incredibly loyal to him. I don't think we should ditch him after one bad debate. Yeah, I don't know.
So the thing is, I mean, personally, to me, that only matters in as much as it may or may not help him win an election. I'll be perfectly candid with you. Debate prowess and even communication. Obviously, presidents need to be able to communicate well, but there's a reason they have press secretaries. There's a reason they give scripted speeches, all these things. You don't have to be a masterful rhetorician. Basically, the way I've always said is, or the way I've told other people is, if you're inventing a president on like a D&D character, communication, like the rhetoric, is not, to me, the thing that you max the skill. They're an administrator. They're executives. They are the ones who are supposed to pick people. And it's, I think Lawrence O'Donnell pointed this out in an MSNBC postmortem about the debate. He's like, listen, there is no situation. There is none where a president of the United States is put in a situation room and they're like, okay, Mr. President, you have 60 seconds to give an answer, no notes. He is surrounded by notes, by experts all the time, snaps his fingers. There's 40 people. So I think that's part of it. I just want to say, I guess, on the substance, I couldn't care less. I do not think debate prowess is correlated with executive competence.
So I'm gonna
it only matters in as much as.
No, I agree that Biden's a great president, but not an effective campaigner, is what I'm saying right now.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I get you. I want to interject to both of you because I think, look, I guess maybe I'm the most Biden should stay in firm thing. And the reason I say that isn't from loyalty to Biden. This isn't me being like, I love you, Biden. Biden is the God King that I worship. No, it's because I'm looking at it. I think without the panic that is happening in a lot of Democratic circles right now, a lot of the people who have bought in to the kind of the line of attack the Republicans have been pushing for since 2020, frankly, okay? And I'm looking at the metrics on the ground, and I am looking to see, okay, if we replace Biden, does that help our chances in November, or does that hurt our chances? And why? If we replace Biden, that does have some benefits. One of those benefits is we get someone who is younger, who we can nullify the age issue, right? We can nullify the attacks that have been against Biden. However, we have to weigh that against the potential new attacks and new lines of attack made against any potential replacement. As I said before, I think the only realistic replacement is Harris. So it becomes a very simple question: Biden or Harris? Which one of those has the better chance in November of winning? And again, for my money, it's just clearly Biden. Like when we talk about communicators, have you heard Harris speak?
I think.
Heard her laugh.
Well, I think she's a better extemporaneous communicator than Biden is. Like, if I had to the extent that we're measuring communicative ability on debate, there's no question she's a better debater than Biden. There's just no question. And she's a more reliable debater than Biden.
Campaigner, to be clear, though. Campaigner, right? I don't think she is.
So I don't know. He's really good. Like, he did that post-debate speech in Raleigh. That was really good.
That was good.
Yeah, and even I actually think Adam said that he thought his Supreme Court speech was meh. I actually thought it was really good. And he was also it was succinct, right? He didn't drag it on and on. I thought it was a good speech. As far as Harris versus Biden, I don't know, because again, the fact that they're polling neck and neck when Biden has so many advantages. He is the president. He is more visible than Kamala Harris. He has more name recognition than Kamala Harris. Sure, and if different polls come out which suggests otherwise, that's fine. That's why I'm agnostic on this. I don't have a dog in this fight. I will go wherever the data shows. And right now, The more recent data has indicated that whatever advantage Biden has over his potential replacements, particularly Harris, is dropping. And the reason it probably has to be Harris, if not Biden, is because the way the fundraising works. The Biden-Harris fundraising, specifically for their campaign, it either goes to Biden or it goes to Harris. They're the only ones who can tap into it. So if they had that open convention, which people are talking about, where they skip over Harris, set aside what that might do to, let's say, the black vote in this country. I imagine a lot of commentators are saying, like Jim Clyburn, or a Democratic congressman, he's saying, listen, if it's not Biden, it's got to be Harris. Yeah. You potentially alienate a crucial cohort there. And then if you lose Harris, you lose, I think it was like, it's at least tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in fundraising. So that's something.
Can we agree that like the media shitstorm after probably made everything worse than the actual debate?
Absolutely.
Because I went and I rewatched it the other day, and I was like, it wasn't like, it was bad, but it really wasn't, especially when you read the transcripts and you watch the debate side by side. It's just his voice kind of like was jarring at first. But
well, the other thing too is, to me, it's like a real Knives Out moment. I pointed this out to Wick, and I was going back and forth with, because I thought about trying to make a gentle point about why it's important to keep perspective and focus always more on bigger problems and smaller problems, instead of just like endlessly policing our own. The media is doing this right now. They are skipping over the fact that Donald Trump lied so much, the fact that, he's done this, that, and the other, the fact that the Supreme Court is, again, effectively making presidents God kings, because they want to focus on a shitty debate that happened on Thursday.
But the reason they're doing that is because of bad actors within our side, right, who want to see Biden step down. This is why, again, the title of my stream, it's a soft coup. These people have seen their chance. They are fanning these flames of panic that are going on. And because we didn't exile these people from positions of influence,
we
have Emma Vigeland, Nina Turner, Breonna Joyce Gray, the Burning Your Bus crowd. And if you think they have no influence, I guarantee you that this is evidence that they absolutely do.
Couldn't you make the argument that the people around Biden have more incentive to like entrench their power, because like the people that Biden kind of consults with around him?
Yes, like, and no, because we've
not
had,
in like a
but again, we've had like reports and other things saying that a lot of the staff, the internships, and all these people that are part of the administration on the lower level, they've had real issues with Biden's positions on Israel and Palestine, right? And they have been protesting these things. They've wrote secret letters, and we've seen that happen too. Again, a lot of these leaks coming out from the administration where unsourced, unnamed staffers are saying, this is crazy. Oh, he's talking to all these people. Again, this plays into that narrative, right? That there are people within the Biden administration who really do not like him, who've always wanted a more progressive candidate, right? And they are taking their shot. And this is their shot.
No, so listen, I'm aware of what Breonna Joy Gray and Emma Vigeland. I do not put them at the center of this. This is going on because he had a terrible performance at the most visible night of the campaign.
Lex Friedman for $100. I love the debates you host, Wick, but I respectfully disagree. And it's okay. We are all disagreeing here. Lex, if you want to jump on
while I've got you here, Lex, if you're still watching, listen, saw your tweet about how when great leaders, they recognize the limits of their authority or whatever, and they step down when the time has come. I think that's a great sentiment. Really wish you would have expressed something like that when the other candidate tried to stage an insurrection, which is just objectively worse than staying in an election after a shitty debate. Really wish the principles that you subscribe would be universally applied. Just saying. Wick, what were you saying about the Vigeland and?
Oh yeah, it's this Burning Your Bus crowd, right? Like, remember in 2016 they were saying they would rather have 4 years of Trump, right? And we saw what after 2016. When Trump won, they took that opportunity, the Justice Democrats, all those people, right, in order to try to get like these more extreme elements in the Democratic Party. And it was largely successful in many ways, right, because we saw Trump as this existential extreme threat. We have been rolling that back, successfully rolling that back. I would point to the recent electoral loss in the primary of Jamal Bowman, right? People are tired of these extremists in our party, and they're trying to roll it back. My theory, my hypothesis, okay, it's a theory, and you can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. Fair, okay? But my theory here is that they smell blood in the water. They saw Biden's debate performance. They saw a few, again, well-meaning people who started making these calls. Then they pushed on their levers of power and the influence they have in the media, right, and in social media, and they fanned the flames of panic amongst the Democratic Party because they want Biden replaced in order, right, to either one of two things. And both it's a win-win for them either way. They get Kamala in and maybe a very more leftist, socialist-leaning vice president pick, or Democrats lose, Trump gains power, and they're banking on the panic that was set in, and so we hand the reins back to the more extremist elements in order to combat Trump, like arm our crazies so we can fight their crazy. That's my theory. Maybe it's crazy, but that's what I see happening.
I just think you overestimate the influence that a lot of these people have. I think it was, again, Biden had a bad night on the most visible point in the campaign, particularly related to a recurring issue in his campaign, which is questions about his mental fitness. You have right-wing media, which is ideologically predisposed to hammer him on this relentlessly. And then you have mainstream media, which, as I've said time and time again, they may vote Democrat, I don't doubt about it, but professionally, Jon Stewart said this 13 years ago, that the mainstream media is not ideologically biased the way right-wing media is. They have a bias towards laziness and sensationalism. And so, Biden sucked at a debate is just the gift that keeps on giving. And I think all of these forces fed into each other. And then getting back to Adam's point, then the freak out that we had publicly about Biden's performance also added fuel to the fire, and it just became this feedback loop. And now the media is not going to let it go because, again, it's generating clicks. It's causing people to freak out. I think that of all the factors, Emma Vigeland and Breonna Joy Gray and people like that, I think that they are the least. Like
they were already railing against Biden, weren't they? Like even before.
Yes.
And also.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, where do you guys think the Biden campaign should go from here? Like, say you have a direct line to like Biden, like, where do you tell them to pivot to? Like, because I was saying, like, keep upping media appearances, do town hall, go into enemy territory, so show that you're sharp. But can Biden even effectively do that? Is the question right now. And I know that he's got some other good like teleprompter speeches, and I don't know. It's just like it was really Oh, what's up?
No, go please finish.
I was going to say I'm becoming increasingly disillusioned as Donald Trump starts to like, just, I don't know, get away with it again. His sentencing gets delayed, everything, and we don't have like we're all over here fighting amongst ourselves. But yeah,
I think they need to ask themselves three questions. Number one, how important is the president's visibility in debates and like interviews? How important is it to win the election? They need to have an honest reckoning about that first and foremost. Is it important? Is it necessary to win? To have Biden debate and debate well and to take interviews, number one. Number two, then they need to ask themselves, if yes, it is really important, like we can't win the election otherwise, then the second question they need to ask is, can Biden do it? Was that just a bad night or is this a recurring issue? And if they say yes, Biden can do it, then yes, I agree with you, Adam. They need to put his ass in front of every fucking camera imaginable. They need to put him on YouTube channels. He needs to have a Midas Touch interview. He needs to go and have a conversation with Brett Baer on Fox, blah, 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 all the things. But if the answer to the first question is yes, it's important, and no, Biden can't do it, then the next question is there anything they can do to compensate? Like, God, we can't put him in front of cameras. He's that bad of a communicator. Is there another way to win the election? And if the answer to that is no, then Biden should step out. And this has to be decided quickly.
It does. There is a clock on this, which is, again, it's like a pressure cooker, right? Because we are under so much stress. We all want Trump to lose. We all want the Democratic Party to win in November. And so there's this constant pressure. But again, I would say that unless something fundamentally changes on the ground, and it would have to be a fundamental sea change, I don't see this. I don't see a replacement for Biden being a better choice. I just don't. I don't know. Sorry.
What about? No, it's fine. Hey, Adam, what do you think about that SCOTUS thing? I haven't had a chance to look at anybody's videos or anything. What do you think about
the immunity ruling?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. And then Donald Trump is already trying to take full advantage of it. They're already claiming the fake elector scheme is an official act. That's what's scaring me now. And Yeah, Donald Trump's lawyer was already arguing that on Caitlin Collins. You probably saw that, right?
Oh yeah, Will Scharf or whatever.
Yeah, Will
yeah,
Scharf, yeah.
yeah. Fucking loser. I mean, anything's an official act.
You see the project? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, the Project 2025 guy. He
Yeah.
says there's a second revolution. It can be bloodless if you let it.
If the left allows it, yeah.
Crazy.
What's up, Quibbles?
We live in crazy times, man. Crazy times. Yeah, how are you doing, Quibbles? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, like, I don't think any of us are doing all that well right now. This is not a great moment. But yeah, I don't know. You seem, Wick, to be like worried that there's no alternative, but I think there are alternatives, but they have to be done like right now. I was only listening to a portion of the last like 10 minutes or so of you. But yeah, I'm only just getting here. So Adam and Josiah, what were your thoughts of, do you think that there's an alternative? Do you think that there's like a viable path? And do you feel like you know what that path looks like?
If it's not Biden, it has to be Harris. She polls, I think, the highest of all the Biden alternatives, and she's the only one with access to the fundraising that the Biden-Harris fundraising war chest has at their disposal.
I agree with all that. Yeah.
Are any of you worried about the ballot challenges that would come from this? Right, like we changed the ballots. Like
she's the only one too who would sidestep that problem because she's already on the ballot.
It wouldn't entirely sidestep it either, right? There would be issues with her not being the top of the ticket, right? And any chance to change that would be challenged, right? So there would still be some issues. I would think it would create mass confusion, and I think there'd be a lot of legal challenges. Now, to be clear, I don't think most of those legal challenges would succeed. I think most would be tossed out. But
yeah, I think they'd be tossed out. The Heritage Foundation.
I don't think it would.
Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, I don't think it would need to succeed in a majority of cases. It just needs to succeed in a few cases, right? In a few places like Pennsylvania or Georgia or any of the other swing states. That's where it needs to succeed. And even if just one or two of those succeeds, it becomes a much bigger problem.
Oh, fuck this guy. Oh, this guy. The worst.
No. Daxiums, what's up, brother?
Hey, Dax, I can't tell if my camera's right, but can you identify that middle finger? Can you see that?
I think I can see it.
Okay, I'm just making sure. That's for you. All right.
How's it going, guys?
What's up?
It was better until 10 seconds ago, literally.
Adam, Josiah. Oh, I know everyone here. Sweet. How's it going, guys?
How you feeling?
What's up? How are you feeling, Daxiums? Give us your thoughts.
I'll be honest. We're talking about whether or not Biden should drop out, right?
Yeah, that's
be 100% honest. Are you coconut pilled?
I am. I literally just Josiah texted me a little while ago. He's like, "What the fuck is coconut pilled, and why do you keep saying that you are? Like, what the fuck?"
Yeah, I'm guys. I'm in my early 30s. I don't know what slang means or anything.
Well, it's because you exist in the contect.
I don't even know what that means. That's
okay,
slang.
I guess I should. People are asking, so I guess I should say I do get a check still from Progressive Victory. I think the only other person here who does is Josiah, but I'm not sure.
No, we're done.
Oh, you
chill. You're
okay.
Chill. I'm just kidding. I feel like people on Twitter are always like replying to Connor. They're always like, "This guy is a Progressive Victory shill." I don't know.
Listen, no shame in it. There's nothing wrong with working with progressive political organizations to defeat Trump. I wish conservatives would do it more often. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. We've done that. Okay, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Staxiums. Go ahead.
No, look, here's the thing. I will vote for Biden if he's on the ballot. I'll vote for Kamala if she's on the ballot. Like, I think we all agree with that. Like, whoever it is. But I do think that Kamala, I'm getting more excited about Kamala than I've ever been with Biden.
Vice President Harris.
Is it just because your Twitter feed is full of like Harris memes right now?
Yes, it is. Low-key, it was like
they're literally just
came up,
manufacturing.
and I'm like, oh fuck yes. I saw like more and more clips of her. Just like she's so energetic and she's so honestly like excited to be alive. And I was like, I was excited with her. And I was like, she feels like such a normie. She feels like disengaged from all of the like bullshit.
Did you ever see her? I'm sorry. Did you see her? This was shortly after Kevin McCarthy was kicked out of the speakership. I'll send you the link. It's the funniest thing. There is this like CNBC hosted business forum, and like it hosts like political leaders as well. And she was the top speaker, but Kevin McCarthy spoke before her. and he was like smack talking Biden. And then when the vice president showed up, the host asked like, so do you want to respond to anything Kevin McCarthy said? And she just like cocked her head and smiled. And she's like, after the week he just had, I don't think he should be giving political advice to anybody. It just like fucking roasted him. That was when I was like, all right, I see. I see you now. Yeah.
This is though. Hold on. Okay. So look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that in November, on November 5th or 6th or something,
6th.
I do a stream. The day after the election is what I'm looking at, right? Like, so the day after the election, I put out a stream and I'm like, gang, if Kamala gets the head of the ticket, to be clear, I hope I put out a stream saying, gang, I know I had said that I thought this was going to lose, but it looks like I was wrong. Here are the reasons I was wrong. I hope I can make that stream. I want to make that stream. I don't think I'm going to, unfortunately.
Well, so then let's just like lay out what we think it looks like to hand it over from Biden to Harris, right?
We all agree.
Like it seems like I think we all agree, at least the four of us. I don't know if Wick does, but the rest of us seem to agree that it needs to be Harris.
It has to be Harris.
No, yeah, Wick thinks so too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so cool. If it's going to be Harris, then it's a matter of like, what does that look like? I think that it looks like during the convention itself, I think that he should step down and literally have Biden himself first introduce her and then swear her in on the last day of the convention. I think it looks like prior to the convention, we have a bunch of meetings with every single member of the cabinet. That's the three of them. It's the cabinet members, and it's Harris and it's Biden. I think it looks like some of those, after those meetings, in some cases, but not all of those cases, people like Pete Buttigieg then have a town hall where they explain in detail in front of a large audience what exactly that looked like. I think that those are, go for it.
No, I think that ideally is what should happen, but I'm gonna rain on your parade a minute. That's absolutely not going to happen, right? Because we already have Ryan Grimm and others. Even Clyburn made a mention of this recently. There's going to be convention challenges. I think Clyburn said he supported he might support a mini primary during the convention.
Clyburn also said that he wanted to make sure that we weren't just like going over Harris, right? He said that explicitly.
Yeah.
I think in the same.
But still, right? Like, look, I know this is ancient history. None of us were born then. Look at the 76 primary, the Republican convention. One of the things that shot Reagan to success in the 80 election was his public challenging during the 76 nomination. It was unsuccessful, right? But it built his cred, okay? It really established him as a mover and shaker in the Republican Party back then. I think we could draw a direct line to his success in 80, right? From his public convention challenge in 76. Now, let's fast forward today, okay? Biden steps down. They do all those things you mentioned about going to the Congress. Biden says, this is our girl. This is Harris. This is who we're backing. I'm passing the torch. That is absolutely going to be challenged, and I think from multiple people, and it's going to be messy, and it's going to create a lot of infighting, and I think it's going to create a lot of legal battles too. I don't see this being a smooth process.
I think that enough people see Donald Trump as an existential threat that we kind of need to unite among around whoever we choose.
We do need that.
It's stupid to not be Kamala.
Say one more time.
Yeah, I think that.
Here, you're a little low. Let me turn you up. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. I can turn myself up.
Yeah, please.
If it is Kamala, then she has the ability to relentlessly campaign. She can go basically all day, do a bunch of events. She can go into enemy territory. Hopefully they PR train her a little bit more. And I'm not saying I want Biden to step down, but it would be nice to have Kamala out there explaining why all this stuff is so bad and like being able to, could you imagine a big event, like they make a big event out of Kamala basically being, it could be during the DNC, it could be whenever, but it's like one of the most viewed television events, and then Kamala comes out and immediately explains the fake elector scheme, and that's why she's running. Like, I feel like a lot of Americans don't even know about that, and I wish President Biden could articulate it.
Who do you think, say again, living in the hypothetical, Kamala's now top of the ticket. Who votes for that ticket who wouldn't vote for the Biden ticket?
people that are concerned about age, people, maybe she might even lose some of the Israel-Palestine baggage.
Yeah.
When she could maybe even energize women, maybe more black voters would come out. I don't know. I don't know for a fact, but
Yeah, I don't think that there's new people who are going to work on her campaign who wouldn't work on Biden's campaign. But I do think there's people who will vote for her who wouldn't vote for Biden. I think that the majority of people who are really focused on this election have already made up our decisions. And yes, there's a large number of people who are on Team Trump, and there's a lot of people who are not on Team Trump. The entire not Team Trump is like, we're all going to be working on the campaign, whether literally or in some other capacity.
Yes.
But the question is whether we're going to be able to better get the swing voters and the voters who aren't paying that much attention. And, you know, right now, the only story that exists in the minds of the people who are barely paying attention is, you know, not even the debate itself, because they probably didn't even see that, but the TikToks and the whatever, you know, little clips of the debates, the debate, which was horrible for Biden. And I think it's going to be really difficult and an uphill battle to fix that.
I will say as well that there is for sure a trade-off, and the huge trade-off of losing Biden is a known factor. Everyone knows who Joe Biden is. Everyone relates him to Obama. He's been the vice president for 8 years. He's been the president for 4. And the average swing voter who doesn't really pay attention to politics barely knows who Kamala is. They're like, oh, I guess she's the VP. What has she done? I think she was in California, I think. And that is a trade-off that I think we should acknowledge the cost of.
I want to piggyback on that because I want to reinforce, like, we don't know. We really don't. We don't know what attacks will come, what lines of attacks, what lines of rhetoric will come against terrorists. We can speculate, we can guess, and I think we should, but there is, as much as we might gain voters, there is a real possibility that we'll lose some too. That people who have concerns about her record as a prosecutor in California, right? They might be like, well, you know what? I can't really vote for a cop. I can't really vote for a prosecutor.
I just want to say that I don't think that voter exists who would vote for Biden's record on Gaza. I will say that, like, that's such a small.
Quibbles kind of touched on this, but the largest coalition in America right now is the anti-Trump coalition. But I think there's a lot of moderate people, independent people who are worried about voting for Biden. I think that debate very well could have turned off a lot of independent people. That's what most polls look like. So maybe another answer to Wick's question about who would this gain, maybe some independents who were worried about Biden's age. Maybe if she comes out strong, like, hey, we're going to federally legalize weed. I don't even know if that's like, so it should be popular, right?
I haven't looked at all the polls,
people.
Right? I haven't looked at all the post-debate polls, right? But I have looked at a few, and the independents didn't really change, right? We didn't lose, we didn't gain. Where we lost was the Dem side, Dem enthusiasm, potential Dem voters. That's who we lost.
You know what's hilarious about all that? I'm just thinking. So again, one of the polls that came out and said about it was a staggering number that thought that Biden should drop out of the race. It was like 54% of Americans also felt that Trump should drop out of the race too. Yeah. It's one of these things that it frustrates me, but sometimes I have to laugh at it. He's just the luckiest guy in the world. He has never been popular. Everybody, like, he as a matter of fact, even when he was president, Biden's popularity has been low, but Biden was in like the upper 50s or high 60s for like the first 8 months of his presidency. Trump never cracked 50. Like there's this whole canard. Well, he was a popular president. No, he was not, and he's still not popular. And most people not only think he should drop out, but most people also think he's mentally unfit for office too. But nobody cares because it's Trump.
My friend just told me he thinks that if Biden drops out, he should immediately say he did it for the benefit of his country, and that he should call on Donald Trump to do it too. And then the Democrats immediately run an ad called "Old" about how Donald Trump's incredibly old and that age is the biggest issue of this. Yeah, age is the biggest issue of this election or whatever. Like, yeah,
you know what? I saw it in credit because she was the prosecutor, and I saw like a little cop, like a lot of the like liberal Twitter has already been like working on pro Kamala things. One of them was like Cop-mala.
Yeah, I think we should.
Her as a cop. And fucking Trump with his, you know.
Yeah, I'm not
it's
mad.
Like a fucked up role play.
I'm not mad or frustrated at people who are promoting Kamala. I think this is a good thing, even just because, again, with the concerns of the age, even if we don't replace the top of the ticket, Kamala's on the ticket. Kamala's there, right? And with the age question becomes, well, she might very well be vice president or become president because she's vice president. And I
Mhm.
think that promoting that and selling that is probably the best way forward. Look, if I was king of the Democratic National Convention, if I was king of the world, and I was making the choices here, what I would say is keep Biden as the top of the ticket, promote the hell out of Kamala, and run that as your thing. We know Biden. We respect Biden. We love Biden. Biden's done some great things. We're going to keep him as the top of the ticket because we think he can beat Trump. We think he's the best guy. But if you're concerned about age, we got a great vice president too. This is a dream team. This is something we can sell. I think that sidesteps a lot of the chaos that would result with a replacement. It sidesteps a lot of the problems that would come along mechanically from that. And I think it's just probably the best strategic.
Just to counter that. Sorry. Just to counter that.
And I want to hear from
don't
Dario
think
too in the darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go real quick. Yeah, sorry. I'll let you talk in just a sec. I will say that I don't think people are concerned about Biden's age because he'll die. People are concerned about Biden's age because he'll turn senile. And I think that's an important distinction. Nobody cares if he dies. If he dies, Kamala becomes president. Hell yeah. I think that people are genuinely concerned about his senility, or however you pronounce that.
Sure. Dario, what are your thoughts?
All right. Can you all hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Cool. So I want to actually throw a wrench in all of that. And I want to ask a very important question. Are conversations like that, talking about his age, talking about his senility, talking about him stepping down, even in formats like this, is that actually counterproductive, right? Because if he doesn't step down, then you are basically aiding, even if it's to a small amount, sort of depressing the Democratic vote, right? And I think Wick mentioned an important statistic previously in terms of like who is less excited to vote for Biden, right? It's not necessarily independents, it's like Democrats, right?
I actually take your point perfectly. That's why I even asked about the Supreme Court ruling too, not as a way to like change the subject, but actually yes.
No, I think you should. I think you should change the subject. That's my point.
No. Listen, so this is what, again, I've talked about this. After the debate, I did a review of the debate and I acknowledged up front, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Biden did terribly. I played a clip of Trump to me, which encapsulated the worst of Biden's performance, which was when Trump said, I don't even hear what he said. I don't even think he understood what he said either. And then the rest of the video was about talking about Trump's lies and Trump not answering questions, et cetera, and so forth. And then since then, my focus has been exactly where I think it should be, which is attacking the Republicans, because I still think they, on Biden's worst day, that Biden is better than them. I completely agree. I don't mind the public conversation. I just think that at the end of the day, like there are things which kind of superseded at this point.
Speaking
Yeah, we got to get over the debate. But with all the news today, it's like probably worth talking about. I remember you texted me 5 minutes in the debate, like, this is bad. So I was texting everyone. My phone was blowing up. We were like, this is terrible. But yeah, it's probably time to move past the debate, to be honest. Sorry, Dario.
I think the public debate is I mean, people can discuss it and that's fine. But I think definitely when I'm looking at Twitter, when I'm looking at YouTube, like, I think people are just taking it way too far. Like, because most people don't have any direct influence on Biden, right? Ultimately, it's going to be Biden who decides, or like his family or whatever close advisors that decided, right? Like, they're not going to decide it based on if fucking Cenk Uygur
let me ask,
talks about him stepping down one more time.
Let me ask about this. Just a show of hands, right? Say Biden is in it for hell and high water. Who here thinks that's bad enough that we should force him out if we can? Does anyone say if Biden doesn't want to,
it's his choice. It's his choice for sure.
I think what Wick is asking is, do you think whatever questions you have about Biden's unelectability or Biden's cognitive state, is it bad enough that you would try to force him out? I think that's what he's saying.
I think it's a self-defeating question.
I think
it's a self-defeating question. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. If I'm just me, the answer is absolutely not. If I were Barack Obama, I might be trying to do some things behind the scenes, but it would definitely be behind the scenes to try to push him out.
Exactly.
The broader thing that I would say, though, is that, to Dario's point, like, there's a fundamental difference between the Democratic Party today and the Republican Party today, which is that, like, we're able to have this conversation and none of the people who are currently loudly saying, hey, we should probably get Biden off of the ticket are going to see like serious repercussions, certainly not physical, but beyond even the physical, that we're not even going to see like difficulties in terms of getting reelected to Congress or any of those kinds of things. And the reason for that is because there's a health of our movement, because we're actually ultimately, thinking about the presidency as a vehicle towards a policy agenda, rather than seeing the policy agenda as a vehicle towards the presidency.
Yeah, but that's why you lose. That's it's because you don't fall in line. I mean, it's why Republicans are so strong. Even if Trump is senile, even if Trump is trying to destroy democracy, like Republicans fall in line and Democrats just don't. Like, this is what happens after one bad debate. It's like all the influencers are wheeled out. They think about their clicks. They think about how much money they're gonna make, talking about, oh, I knew it all along, right? And it's just democracy.
It's a soft coup. Here, look, I'm gonna read these super chats because I want to make money. Speaking of clicks and views, but I wanna like really hammer that point home. Is that there again? And you may call me a conspiracy theorist, right? But there's a lot of people who are rooting for Biden to lose, and they see this as a chance. What did you have to say, Josiah?
I was just going to say, I'm going to friend Dario because I love the fact that he's calling for message discipline and attacking Republicans.
Dario's a great guy. Dario's been on my show before.
Guy.
He's a good
guy.
I agree with everything Dario said.
Yes.
That was
getting a friend request, buddy.
But we are so feckless. We are so panicky. Where's our courage, gang? Why can't we, 2016, Trump lost every single goddamn debate. Did you see Republicans panicking? No. They screwed their courage to the sticking place, okay? They manned up, they grew a spine, and they pushed.
Huh?
And then they lost.
No, they
not in 2016.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 2020. I apologize.
No,
every other year since.
I mean, if you ask Republicans, they didn't lose 2020, so
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, but
they just can't lose. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like anytime. Yeah.
No, but like
really
realistically, how do we bounce back from this polling deficit we're in now? I mean, off the top of my head, wasn't Biden down like 5 to 6 to 7 points in all of the swing states that he needs? Like Pennsylvania went from -2 or 3, which we can come back from. Now it's like -6. Like, how do we, if Biden can't be out there relentlessly campaigning, I know I've made that point a bunch, I want to see him out there more, but like, what do we do? Buy more ads? I don't know.
That's the
then
question,
you have to do it, right? If Biden can't speak his own message and talk about how great his presidency has been, then you have to do it, right? Instead of talking about how old he is, instead of talking about his debate performance, you have to talk about his agenda. Like, and Cenk has to talk about his agenda. Fucking Piers Morgan has to talk about how great Biden is. Like, all of these influencers are just who are shitting on him have to talk about his good
but like
sides.
we live in the universe where they don't. You know what I'm saying? We live in a universe where we're fighting against the media.
You got to do what you can.
Relentlessly shit on Biden, and I think something that I messaged Wick a little earlier. Doesn't it make a little bit more sense to just roll with the tide and say, you know what? Maybe it's better. And I know this doesn't seem very principled, but like maybe it's better to roll with the tide and just say, you know what? Let's hype up Kamala. She gets, and like now she's in there, and now the media we now get
just
to
let Putin take the
but
Ukraine.
there's-
He's trying really hard. Okay, we could just lay down and let him have it. Okay, what are you talking about?
I think
You
there's
guys-
a huge difference
Well,
between millions of
I don't think
Ukrainians
Harris is
dying.
Putin.
Yeah, no, for real.
Did you guys
The
see some of
difference
the?
between Harris and
Go ahead,
Biden?
Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, you guys see the fucking Bernie supporters trying to psyop Harris Bernie 2020? Like, he has one more chance. They were trying to psyop that on my timeline. But also, I gotta dip and go edit a video in a second. So sorry guys.
Hey, Adam, whoa. That's what I was doing, okay? You can edit in real time. That's what I was doing when I wasn't talking.
No
okay?
one is a prisoner here. If he has to go, he has to go.
No, I say he is a prisoner here. We don't.
Well,
get to do
Adam's
that.
coming on my show Friday. Is that still on? Right? We're gonna do the call-ins on Friday, right before
Let
my
me know.
big set.
I could chill for like 5 more minutes, but I was gonna go edit and walk my dog and like chill out for the next 7 working.
You got that dog in you.
Yeah, for real.
But,
we taught Josiah that phrase once, and now he keeps repeating it.
What are you talking about?
He just
DJ
keeps learning
video
like
board.
new Gen Z phrases, and
If
he's like,
I
guys,
may-
I gotta seem young.
If I may
God.
Like
chill
in
for
a corner,
moment,
saying skibbity over and over.
if I may
Jesus.
chill for a moment, gang. Look, Biden is waiting. Biden is waiting to make a decision whether he's going to stay or not until after my Saturday debate, where we have Destiny, we have Cenk Uyghur, we have Joe Walsh, former Illinois congressman. Okay, we have Brianna Wu, and then we have me. And we're going to be talking about this exact topic. Should Biden drop out? Biden's strongest soldiers have come to defend him against the hordes, okay? And you can tune in and watch that Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It should be great. It should be fun. But yeah, like here's some super chats for you. I'll read these out, gang, real quick. $5 from Artemis Fowl. Democrat nominates Trump, forcing Wick to stump for Trump. But no, if Democrats nominated Trump, I would stop being a Democrat. Straight up. An angel that for $10 says it's a right talking point to say that maybe we should let him drop out. It's a right-wing idea to stop elder abuse. Weird take, but okay. What hasn't the Dems planned for the next? Why haven't the Dems planned for the next candidate? So fair question on the last one. $2 from Brian McHale. Biden put out a South Carolina ad today. $2 more. Biden has an interview on ABC on Friday, and I'm looking forward to see how that goes. $5 from Artemis Fowl. I enjoy that nobody gives Biden credit for those achievements because everyone implicitly knows those happen despite Biden, not because of him. Thank you. $100 more from this is the same $100 from Lex Friedman. I love the debate you host, Wick, but I respectfully disagree. Well, we already talked about that. And $2 from 2024 Gay Odyssey, MAGA 2024 free January 6th patrons, close the border. Okay. Stealing done. Back to the debate.
Stacks, can I convince you why
Yes.
it's a bad idea to hype up Kamala Harris, okay?
Well, go ahead.
Sure. So it's just basic game theory argument, okay? And it goes like this. You don't have influence on whether or not it's going to be Biden or Kamala, right? You can think about it. You can hype out Kamala. You can say, oh, wouldn't it be great if Bernie ran? Wouldn't it be great if Kamala? Wouldn't it be great if Buttigieg ran, right? But the issue is, if that's the narrative you're spreading the next 2-3 weeks, a month, right? Then if it is Biden, then, well, what are you going to say? Well, I wished it would have been anyone else, but it is Biden. And now everybody in your audience, everybody you're talking to is going to be disappointed, right? And that they're not going to step up and they're not going to do what it takes to actually promote Biden.
I hear what you're saying. I think that my counter is the reason why it needs to be Harris, who I'm hyping up, and no one else, is because Harris is already on the ticket. And me hyping up Harris also kind of hypes up Biden by adjacency, just because she's on the ticket. And I don't see it as taking away from Biden. And if Biden stays on the ticket, I'm going to hype up both of them because I think they're both great.
And that's what I worry that we're not doing, right? I think we're playing into Republican talking points when we talk about how we're worried about his senility and age. If I didn't think that Biden was capable, we're back. Okay, they got me.
You're back. We've been here.
Oh,
Yeah, we've been
sorry.
here the whole time. The shit we talked about you. You had no
Man, I don't know what's with my internet today. Is my stream down? Hold on, let me check. You guys can
Adam,
talk.
Adam, what are we gonna do as far as we be doing some events, man. We need to be like, I'm panicked. That's why I texted like Luke, and I've reached out to others where I'm like, we need to like just like
Mobilize. Get our fans to go canvas and stuff. It's not impossible. But yeah, man, I think we're fighting an uphill battle right now. It's really scary, and a lot of the polling coming out has me dooming. I don't see how we can claw our way back. But yeah, hit me up if you ever want to do like an in-person event with our.
Yeah, I think we need to spend time in battleground states and doing everything in our influence. Listen, I'm a cynic by nature too. I was dooming before the debate, right? I'm always thinking that we're going to lose. Just ever since 2016. Yeah. But what I'll say to Dario's point, after that one video in which I conceded that Biden did horribly, and then I went into Trump's mistakes, my position has been from the beginning. One message what I think is ubiquitous, and it fits nicely on no matter if the president stays in or if the vice president takes over, whatever, is that this current iteration of the GOP sucks and Trump sucks and they're dangerous and Democrats as a whole have a better record. And I think you can generalize it such if you really want to cover your ass to account for, again, any eventuality. Harris takes over, Biden stays in. And so that's where I think it needs to be. Your focus has to be, if you genuinely believe this, obviously if you don't, that's different. But if the Republicans are worse, then you got to triage wherever you think the biggest problem is. That's where the majority of your focus needs to be. And that's the problem with the media. The problem, the media constantly sidesteps over just objectively greater problems, like this recent Supreme Court decision, in order to focus on the latest story about Biden's age. The New York Times is a liberally biased rag. The New York Times. They've dedicated infinitely more time, attention, and energy to Biden's debate performance, even if you control for a number of days, to the SCOTUS decision. How insane is that?
it's honestly mind blowing. I mean, this is the issue, right? And the issue is that it's the news, right? Everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to, because it's sexy, right? It's like what the people want to hear. But I think everybody has a responsibility. The news, the influencers, everybody has a responsibility to set the narrative, right? Why is the narrative that Biden lost the debate? Like, I know most people think he lost the debate, right? But most people think he lost the debate because the debate is judged by who speak the loudest, who say the most clear words, not what they say, not what the policies are, right? And if the criteria is what are the policies presented, who did not answer questions, who lied more, it's clear Biden wins the debate, right? But that's not what people care about, like, because everybody has collectively decided it's about who, I don't know, who looked the best into the camera, right? But like, how crazy is that's the criteria by which the fucking president is chosen?
I like this guy. I like
I
this
will,
guy a lot.
I will say, to Josiah's point, I mean, like, you're right that it's not as important of an issue as the SCOTUS decision, but it's also true that this is more time sensitive than that. That'll still be an issue that we're able to really discuss in a month and a half, whereas the issue of whether we're going to replace Biden will not be a real conversation we can have after the convention.
Well, to be clear,
Right.
And is
I
that
just
your
want to be
line?
clear.
Is that your line, by
Mhm.
the way? Is if we haven't replaced Biden by the convention, we just can't? Is that your?
That's my line, unless something truly dire and to the
sure.
extent
Unless
that we're
like
worried that he
there's
can't
this
do
crazy
the
thing,
job.
yeah.
I mean, like, the truth is, like, if we zoom out, the reality is that if tomorrow Joe Biden died, everyone would just agree that we're doing exactly what we're all proposing. The question is whether we can do it without there being that dire of a situation. And so, like, we can do this in a functional way that's, like, broadly good prior to the convention. After the convention, I don't think
Well,
so.
I just want to say, to be
Go
clear,
ahead.
I think it's good for people to be having this conversation. I just think at this point, to Dario's point, I don't feel comfortable having this like Jamie Raskin, Sheldon Whitehouse, the vice president, Governor Bashir, like people who are actually the decision makers within the DNC, they should be having this conversation. And I also agree, somebody said it
Hunter
earlier, it may have
Biden.
been Quibbles or whatever, that it's a sign of a healthy party where, you know, we're not cultishly devoted to Biden the way that the GOP is to Trump. I completely agree with that too. I think that the prioritization of public commentary from people like Adam and I and all of us who have some degree of viewership but no real influence within the party, that's why I'm not interested in talking about it as like a major focus.
I agree with this, and I know I came out as kind of like the pro Kamala person, but I want to be clear. I don't think I ever was seen as an anti-Biden person, and I think that if you look at any of my videos that I'm putting out right now, all of them have been explicitly and devotedly anti-Trump. Like I've been pretty devout in looking through Trump's administration, and I forgot a lot of the shit that he did. I forgot how fascistic and insane a lot of his policy decisions were. And I do think that that should be the brunt of our arguments. And I wholeheartedly agree. I think if we just want to have some more anti-Trump shit, I'm all for it, and I will happily pile in on the bullshit.
And this is what I
you
wish
going to vote?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that Stacks, your favorite candidate is still technically running. Are you planning on voting for her?
Fuck you.
Who?
I
Wait.
voted for Jill Stein in 2016, and
Wow,
Josiah's
what?
never shut the fuck up.
Holy shit!
I regret it. I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. I wasn't in a swing state. If that makes anyone feel
No,
better.
it doesn't. No.
Yes, it does.
Exactly.
It absolutely does.
I was a different person.
Okay.
I
well,
will
It should
give
just
a
be a
person.
slam dunk election, and the fact that we're down by the amount that we're down by. with
I
4
know
months to go
it's
is scary.
legitimately frightening for like it's like maybe democracy is not.
And
like,
I'm just
it's a
worried that we're
flawed
losing
concept.
the normies too. Like I have friends who are apolitical completely, but they watch like UFC and they see Trump on TikTok with they walk out of UFC and it gets like 120 million views. They're like, this guy is badass, and they know nothing else. And it's like MAGA to us is like just like this fascistic cult, but MAGA to them is like just this cool, I don't know,
Yeah,
sports
rah rah
movement.
America.
Yeah,
TikTok-
yeah, and it's
TikTok
like
is
the
crazy.
How
Democrats
do
are
we-
weak.
To
They have
you,
a-
Adam. A question for you, Adam. Right?
Yeah.
How do we win those people back?
The
Propaganda.
Democratic Party needs to embrace masculinity more. Who are you pointing to? To me, you're pointing off the screen.
And I'm looking at the screen where Dario is in the direction I'm pointing.
I love that you think that that's how cameras work.
Shut up! What am I supposed to do? I don't see what.
Point to the fucking
Okay,
right.
what do you mean by manly? I want to explore this, because you said we have to be more
Can you please
masculine.
mute the Jill Stein voters in this chat, please.
I don't know, like, for example, a lot of my, like, frat bro friends, when they turned on that debate, they saw, like, a macho Donald Trump, even though we know that he lied a bunch, versus stuttering, stumbling Joe Biden. And, of course, Biden was factually correct on everything, but that's what they interpreted it as. And I feel like the Democratic Party is just seen as, like, they have a vague idea. I'm just kind of generalizing with some of my friends back in Indiana. They have this vague idea that we're just, like, woke. We, like, I don't know. It's whatever they define woke as. And the way to remedy that, I don't really know. We need more honestly, I think Destiny does a decent job at doing that, because he kind of goes into the lion's den and attacks, and it's like, okay, you can be a chilled gamer dude who's also a liberal. So we need more people going into the lion's den. Which
Well,
our
Adam,
president can't do.
Adam does it very. I don't. Stacks, is Adam
That's
up
me,
here?
that's
I don't
me.
know where
No, he's
Adam.
not.
Okay, whatever. So wherever Adam is in the configuration, Adam is also very good at this too, because he constantly. That's how he cut his teeth. He went to these Trump rallies, put a microphone in their face. These people, there's no telling. Some of them may have tried to want to kill him, and he's having these conversations with them. Luke Beasley does it as well. I mean, that I think is important. I do agree though, where from my vantage point, I think that we have to have a more rhetorically aggressive posture. Not completely. I do think you have to have people who extend the olive branches and are really congenial. But I do think that we need people who are unapologetically Democrat, that they fiercely advocate for their values and their policy prescriptions the way that Republicans do about bullshit culture war issues, that they don't feel timid, that they say, you know what, actually, no, screw you, Donald, and take the aggressive posture back. Biden had some of those moments during
in the debate. That was his strongest moments, when he was you have the morals of an alley cat. And a lot of people make fun of that line, but that's where he came off strongest, right?
Right, you're a convicted criminal. You are
This.
I remember that there was conversation. Oh my God, should the president refer to Donald Trump as a convict? I'm like, yes, abso-fucking-lutely. Imagine if the shoe was on the other foot, they would be hammering us about it. And that's the other thing too, people who are like, how does rhetoric play a role? MAGA is the most uncivil political movement in politics. You have sitting Republican members of Congress referring to Democrats as the party of pedophiles and groomers. They say whatever they want, whenever they want, about whomever they want. I think it's perfectly okay, unless someone can give me empirical evidence to the contrary, for Biden to shit talk Republicans, and particularly elected Republicans.
We know
at that.
we've disagreed, and I do disagree with you, but I will say this, right? We do need unapologetic Democrats. I think we need to people be able to say that they're wrong. But when you're advocating for doing the same thing that the Republicans do, I don't
think anyone's saying the same thing, but I think we are saying we should scream convicted felon every time we say Donald Trump's name.
Fair enough.
You have to. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to refer to the Republicans as the party of pedophiles and groomers. I'm just saying that this idea. Let me ask you this: is it okay for Joe Biden to insult Donald Trump in a debate?
Depending, yes. Depending on how. This is the context. There are certain insults that I think won't play well, that won't do well. But I think there are other insults based on truth that you can absolutely go after him for. And one of the reasons the convicted let me finish. One of the reasons the convicted felon line is fine is because it's true. Right?
That's the point. The difference is that in order for Republicans to attack Democrats, they have to lie. But you don't have to lie to attack Republicans. You can just tell the truth, right? And I mean, that's bad enough. You just have to hammer it home.
The word loser. Let me ask you that. So loser, right? So that's not quite as objective as convicted felon. But the president has repeatedly, since he announced his reelection campaign, in speeches and at that debate, referred to Trump as a loser. Do you think that's fair to call him a loser?
Yes. But let me ask you this. Do you think it's okay for Biden or Democrats to go after the fact that Trump and Melania are obviously having marriage issues right now? Melania is nowhere to be found. No. Do we think we should go in after that?
Probably depending on the context.
I think it's legitimately fine to imply it.
I wouldn't go that far.
Could I say I think it's fine to imply it with the porn star shit. With hey, look at how oftentimes he cheated on his wife when she was pregnant with a porn star. Like, I do think that those are fine to throw out there and say, this is the party of moral values. And I think that those are factual statements. And I think we can imply, hey, he is not moral or ethical with his relationships. I think that's a fine attack.
Here's something from Keto Burrito. Then I'm gonna pass it to Adam because I know he has to go soon. Keto
Don't
Burrito
remind him of that.
says, "I'm apolitical."
We got to do this more often. Why don't we do this like once a week? Or
I don't
something?
know why you guys don't do this once a week. I'd love to have you guys on more often. Okay,
Just hit me up. We can hop on.
I'm apolitical, and y'all's panic right now is making you look bad. You look as if you're not behind who you picked. And I have people I talk to in real life and people who aren't politically connected, and this is one of the things that they say. By replacing Biden, what it makes the Democratic Party look like is, oh, they can't even choose the right candidate in their primary. How are they going to fix the country, right? It plays into these narratives. And that's another like brick in the wall of why I think Biden is just the best candidate. But I'm tossing it to
But that's part
Adam.
of
Yeah.
that's part of the. Oh, sorry, Adam, go for it.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say really quickly. I did like a 7-hour live stream on debate night, and one of my friends from high school hopped on after because he was like talking trash in chat, saying like, "Oh, you picked the worst candidate," blah blah blah. And we did a debate, and his whole argument was that Democrats are divisive because Biden called Trump a loser on stage. And I was like, "Homie, literally, Trump is known for calling people nicknames in his party and in the Democratic Party." We argued for a few hours about like January 6th or whatever. It made a good video, but I just thought it was funny that you brought up losers.
That's the problem. That's exactly the fucking problem. I'm not saying we can do it overnight, and Stacks can tell you this is something I've complained. Adam, I've talked about this with you.
Yeah,
we have to do everything in our power to varying degrees to just break that asymmetry. We have to point out that it is irrational and it's stupid and it's actually loser behavior to hold two people to different standards. The only way you can evaluate if one thing is better than another is to hold it to the same goddamn standard. So if a Republican is complaining, Biden shouldn't be insulting people, and it's like, cool, that's fine. Then don't ever cheer Trump when Trump insults somebody, or I'll call you a fucking loser. We have to break that asymmetry.
And I
They
think
don't even have the
Hold on.
cognitive ability to process.
Hold on. This is where I disagree with I think most of you here, right? I think that we absolutely should hold ourselves to a higher standard than we hold our enemy to. I think we absolutely need. One of the reasons we won in 2020, we won in 2022, we won in 2018 is because we do have a different standard. And because we hold ourselves to that standard, and the voter knows that we do, okay? That's an advantage.
I don't think so. I think the difference is in policy, not in standards of standards of speech.
Hold on. No, Dario, who do you think is voting on policy?
No, I think ultimately the voters care about the core issues, right? And they care about the rhetoric.
No.
Like I don't think voters are like, Biden was mean, so I'm going to vote for Trump.
I think we just need to embrace that we're part of 10% of the country that's actually like paying attention to these things closely, right? I don't think the majority of people can like name the vice president even. That's one of Wick's concerns, right? And so like if we're thinking about it in that context, no, I don't think people are voting on policy. I think people are voting on who are they thinking about when they go into the election booth. One of the reasons that we were able to do so well in 22, so much better than anyone really expected us to do in 22, is because it turns out that the Republican Party, if Trump's not on the ballot, half of them don't show up, right? It's not literally half of them, but like a huge portion of them don't show up because Trump's not on the ballot. And so I think that what we want to make sure is to get our people to be galvanized and to really get the coalition that's anti-Trump to really be thinking about Trump intensely. And simultaneously, we want to make sure that the other side is not concerned, is not scared of us in the same way that we are scared of Trump, right? We just need to be like a boring Kamala Harris is like fine in their minds in the way that Trump is simply not fine.
You think you fell from a coconut tree?
When I said policy, I meant like the issues like economy, like democracy.
I think that's maybe 10% of the voters, and we got those locked in a bag.
Yeah,
we don't care about those people. They're voting for Biden.
Dario, what you're describing is
anyone who's paying attention is voting for Biden. Anyone who's paying attention to the policies.
Yeah, but the people aren't paying attention.
Information voters.
Yeah. Wait, can I get mad at Wick real quick? Because I'm a little furious at you. Here's the thing that just happened, okay? we were saying, hey, maybe Biden should call Trump a loser. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to be better than Republicans. What the fuck are we talking about? Trump has called Ted Cruz's father the assassinator of JFK.
Why do you think Trump loses?
No one.
These low information voters. Why do you think he loses them?
Because Trump has broken the expectations of the average person when he said, I'm gonna grab, like, he has gone so extreme that people can't even track him being moral anymore. Where we've just broken those expectations.
No.
And then we're like,
the voter sees how he and his MAGA-ite cultists, right, the Trumpers, behave. And in 2018, in 2020, in 2022, and hopefully in 2024, they reject that. If they cannot tell the difference, and I know it's frustrating as all hell, but if they cannot tell the difference between how we behave, I'm not talking policy or anything. These are low information normies. They're chatters, okay? Weak, feckless. They don't really research anything. They just cheer on who's winning, quote unquote. And they look at optics and vibes, okay? If they can't tell the difference between how we behave and how Republicans behave, then that advantage that allowed us to pull off victory in 2018, 2022, and 2020 vanishes. And I don't want us to give that up because we don't want to, because it's annoying not to be able to insult the guy that insulted you. Right. And it is annoying. No, I get it.
It's like, no, it's so different because here's the thing. Trump calls people pedophiles. Trump calls people psychos. All we're saying is call him a loser, call him a felon, call him like.
I'm okay with convicted felon. I didn't say not to call him a convicted felon. I think convicted felon is
loser.
Fine.
It's crazy that if we call Trump a loser, then people will see Trump and Biden on the same level when Trump has like posted a picture of Ted Cruz's wife and said, "What a fucking whale." I forgot what he said, but he called her fat or something. Like, those are on completely different levels. And the fact that we're normalizing this symmetry, sorry, Josiah, for just being right every single time. It's insane that we're doing this.
It's not normalizing the symmetry. It exists whether we like it or not. If you can show me a way to break the symmetry, great, but we haven't.
It's created by us. Well, wait a minute. We all contribute to it.
Yes.
That's why I say this is not an immediate goal. I'm saying by definition, this is not some sort of divinely imposed symmetry or asymmetry. It was created by us, by the media, which is also comprised of us. This bad, stupid, irrational, and also electorally problematic thing of grading Democrats on a curve. It's all of those things. It is electorally dangerous because it gives Republicans yet another advantage. And it's also, again, for people who are like, facts don't care about your feelings. It's also really stupid and irrational.
You keep saying this is an advantage, but it hasn't worked out for them electorally.
What? Wait a minute. You're pointing. No, that would be
I'm
true.
saying that the reason that a lot of people didn't vote for Trump in 2020 is because they were turned off by how he behaved. And one of the ways he behaved is one of the things you were advocating for Democrats to start doing. Why would we ever do that?
What the fuck? No one is advocating for us to act
like
Trump.
You're saying we want to fight back. We want the asymmetry destroyed.
Losers.
There's a difference between calling them losers and calling them nicknames and constantly berating people and like diverting responsibility. And Josiah's also saying we edge into it so it doesn't hurt our electoral. Like we slowly start throwing,
Bad
idea. I'm not calling for Biden to call the Republican Party the party of groomers and pedophiles.
Yes.
I'm just saying I think it's okay to have a posture.
Hold up.
I get what you're saying, Wick.
Yeah. If you tell the average Democratic politician and voter and things like that, hey, we're going to let you just insult people now. It's okay. Do you think that they're going to have that nuanced take that you guys just did? I've seen this on Twitter. I've seen this in real life too, right? They don't, when you say you can insult someone, they will do it. All right.
We can't ask Democratic politicians to be a little bit nuanced with being it's either black or white. It's either they cannot insult any person.
You got to treat them like children. Yes.
I think that politicians are a little bit smarter about their.
They have the power to insult people now, and they're choosing not to. They are exercising greater caution by far. But I'm saying it's like this idea that by encouraging but that by trying to break the asymmetry by saying, listen, if you don't like insults, that's fine. But if you don't like insults, you shouldn't like it when Trump insults people either. And if you complain about Democrats occasionally insulting Republicans, the first thing I'm going to say is you have no ground to stand on if you're a Trump supporter.
Hey, I don't care about.
I don't care if there's an asymmetry and who gets attacked more. I don't care that he's calling. I don't. What I care about is votes. And the truth is that if your goal is to garner votes, when we're in the who can give each other the most intense nickname, Trump's going to win that battle. And if we're battling on policy, if we're battling on who's done more for the country, we win on that front. And so we should be having the conversation primarily be on the front of the thing that we're better at, not the thing that we're worse at.
Quibbles.
If we're doing this thing of like, let's talk about who has a better golf course score or whatever, we're going to lose.
I am so confused. I'm so confused. Wait, well, did you not take the position at the beginning of this conversation that this debate has hurt Biden?
That the debate hurt us? Yeah, absolutely.
So rhetoric clearly fucking matters. The style and presentation. If it's just about substance, we do win.
So, right. That's what I'm saying.
No way. Hold on, Josiah. The rhetoric didn't hurt us, right? It's the age question hurt us, which is a separate issue than what
the rhetoric also hurt us. We were bad at rhetoric.
Yes. So quibbles. So
I'm not arguing against rhetoric. I'm asking what are the rhetorical grounds that we should be fighting on? If we're having a rhetorical spat over who knows more, just like facts, we win. No matter who we put up, we win in a debate over who knows more facts. Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom versus Trump.
Right? The problem is if you look at polling when they ask questions about who is weak or strong, Biden is seen as weak. Rhetoric plays not entirely, but a major element in the projection of strength. Trump is seen as strong in polling because he's a dick. People in America correlate being a dick with being strong. Not always, but there's a reason we love our anti-heroes. We know this is true. So what I'm saying is Biden should crank up a little bit the dickishness, and that might help reduce the gap in strength. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying that's the only way I can...
Let's look at when Biden won last. In 2020, the way he won was when he had that viral line of, "Will you shut up, man?" Right? Yeah. That's a very different line than calling him a loser. It's a very different line because what he's saying is...
He told the sitting president to shut up.
He called him a whiner a bunch too.
It's different. When you say, "Will you shut up, man?" what you're saying is you're being an idiot and you're beneath the quality of this because you're not taking seriously this. When you start doing this,
wait a minute, no, I disagree. Let's test this. Why didn't he say, "Please, Mr. President, will you allow me to talk"? That would have communicated everything you just said and even more polite.
It's less
clearly. Quibbles.
You
have to acknowledge that at least part of the line's success was its edge. Yeah. You have to acknowledge that because if it was just the sentiment,
Democrats need to be more edgy, educationally.
Wait a minute, Quibbles. Will you acknowledge that? Clearly, it wasn't just the substance.
Absolutely, I agree.
We agree edge is important.
Hold on. What does educationally edgy mean?
I don't know. Be edgy, but at the same time, be factual.
Know?
Yeah,
you spit them with facts with an edge. It's not just shitting on people just for the fact to shit on.
Do I turn my cap backwards? Right? Do I skateboard on in there? Hey, gang, we're gonna do some radical.
The point is,
just alliterative. Can I share my screen for a second and then I gotta go? But
let me give you some.
Make sure it's the right screen, Adam.
It is. I mean, all my Josiah picks are on the other screen. But should Biden be like this? Remember when Congressman Troy Garcia said this to some random person on Twitter?
Based.
Is this what we're looking for?
No.
Absolutely based.
Okay.
And then he blamed it on some staffer.
All right, but what about? Okay, but wait a minute. What about what Jasmine Crockett did to Marjorie Taylor Greene? What about what Jamie Raskin has been? That's a great example. Those moments have gone viral. People have been energized by it. People but then
let's look at Fetterman, gang. Let's look at Fetterman, right? He posted a picture recently when people called for Biden to drop out of a homeless man flipping off the camera, right? Did you see that? He got a lot of flack for that. I'll see if I can find it for you guys. But
I didn't see that. I'm just saying,
I
obviously.
feel like it's working out for Fetterman. I don't know.
Well, it's like the thing is that I don't know any Fetterman fans anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a
Like,
Fetterman
I'm a
fan.
Fetterman
All right, like
I feel like
he's
he's
I'm
he's
just
my
saying he lost
senator.
a lot of his base. I'm just saying he lost a lot of his base recently.
Okay,
I
no,
wonder
hold
how
on,
he
hold on,
wins
stop.
next election.
That's not true. I'm in
No.
Yeah, it's
Pennsylvania.
not true at all.
He's not. His base
Okay.
isn't national. His base is in Pennsylvania, and I promise you, he's more popular than ever here.
Well,
Is he
we're
gonna win
talking about on
re-election?
Twitter, which is nationally not Penn. He didn't go to a town
He's
hall
not
and
a
say this. He said
national
it on the
candidate.
internet.
He's like a fucking Pennsylvania senator.
No, I know, but the people who responded to it, the people who gave him flack, are people nationally who he lost the fans from.
I
He
think
wouldn't have gotten flack if he said that in Pennsylvania at a town hall. And you asked all of the people, they're like, no, dude, that was hella good. He got
Yo, guys,
flack
I gotta
nationally.
dip. My
Okay.
dog's begging
See
me,
you-
but I'm
see you
sorry,
later, buddy.
Josiah. I'm
Thanks for
sorry.
you
coming
got
on
that
in.
dog in
you,
you.
Adam.
Yeah, we'll see
Yeah,
you
we're
Friday.
gonna-
baby.
He's so excited.
Yo, let's do this again soon, though. For real.
On God.
We'll have
Let's
fun
do
with
it.
it.
man.
We'll
Peace out,
have
everybody.
to
Nice meeting
set
you,
it up.
Adam.
I'll see you later, buddy.
Nice meeting you guys.
Yeah,
See ya.
bye-bye. Okay.
I think for Biden and also for Fetterman, I think the rhetoric argument works only if they present arguments and they say things which are within their character, right? You wouldn't expect a Biden to come out and call him the R word, right? He's going to present it in the Biden way, but it's just about like dialing it up to the maximum Biden.
The
You don't want
malarkey
Biden.
shit is so good.
Yes, the
The
malarkey
alley cat
works,
shit was so good.
But here's the thing, like what I worry about when Josiah says stuff like we need to insult them more, right? When we need to break this asymmetry. Josiah, I love you, buddy, but I think you turn off a lot of voters that would otherwise not be turned off by this.
Yeah, but Wick, it doesn't
Too
matter because
aggressive.
there's a diversity of tactics, right? And the voters that Josiah turns off are going to be turned on by other people, but Josiah
Turn 'em
reaches
on.
a different
should
audience.
also-
Okay.
Do you not think that the
I should
average
be clear,
voter
I
is
wasn't-
killing for someone to just go, Donald Trump, you are a felon.
The
You are a
average
convicted criminal.
Democrat-
You are someone who, huh? No, the
average-
average person. No, the average person who hates Donald Trump, who thinks him as an immoral piece of
Okay,
shit.
we need people.
Kinda
Okay,
wants him to be
stop,
called on his bullshit.
stop. This is important, dude, because those people we got already. We got them. Everyone who hates Donald Trump is voting for whoever's on the fucking Democratic ticket. That's not who we
No.
need to get. We need
I'm
to
saying-
increase our voter share, and we don't do that by going and starting the shit fights, right?
I disagree.
I
Yeah,
think so.
That's not-
I think
was
you, I
talking
think you
about the
do.
Canadian voter.
I
was-
think the difference, Wick, is the audience you're speaking to and the platforms, right? I think if you're trying to get new voters that could be interested in those certain types of things, as I think YouTube clips, TikTok, like clipping together short montages where you are very, very aggressive, trying to appeal to younger audience, especially young men, right? I think those kinds of things, like saying that type of rhetoric, I think that's going to work there.
Well, thank you all for coming on. I do have a debate I promised to give to Cypher and Philosophical Zombie Hunter at 6. But thank you for coming and yelling with me and at me and alongside me about this. I appreciate you all. Gang, I want to give all these people a chance to just a brief closing thoughts, and then we'll get to the debate. So we're not going anywhere, gang, and we're going to have a debate on Gaza, of all things. And remember, we got some great stuff coming up. Tomorrow's July 4th. I'm not streaming. Sorry. But I hope you all have a happy America Day. And then Friday, Adam Mockler is going to take our call-ins. And so if you have issues with them, you can call in. And then Saturday's the big one. Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Senk, Joe Walsh, Destiny, Brianna Wu, me. Be fun. Okay, Dario, closing thoughts.
If Biden has 1,000 supporters, I'm one of them. If he has one supporter, it is me. Okay, that's it.
Thanks for being here. Josiah, what you got?
Yes, happy 4th of July. This will be the first one in which presidents are now God kings, so please enjoy it. It's basically like we're back under the monarchy. Yeah, listen, it's good chatting with you guys, and definitely if you are not aware of that recent Supreme Court decision, it is just infinitely more important than any single presidential debate performance or however lackluster, and you should definitely dive into it. Scary stuff.
All right, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you hopping on. Quibbles.
Likewise.
I think that we should be less scared about the future post-Biden and post-Trump, given that they're both going to be dead in 10 years, than we were a week and a half ago. I think that we have seen a lot of evidence that the broad Democratic Party is pretty strong and is capable of handling itself.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Last but not least, Staxiums, what you got?
I will say that it's not just that we need to be more masculine. We should also be more patriotic. And this 4th of July, every liberal should be saying, hell yeah, we love America. This is the best country in the world. To remind everyone that we could say USA, USA, and still vote for a Democrat. Because I feel like we lost that over the last 20 years. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
True. Okay, thanks again. I'm going to send you all away.
Cool.
Okay, bye.
Wasn't that fun, gang? Okay, 2 things going to happen. I'm going to get a drink real quick. I'm going to pull in our debate partners. Stick around. We got a whole debate coming up. It should be fun. Let me pull them on right real quick. Okay, sorry about that, gang. How you guys doing? You both are muted.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Okay, good to hear. Give me 1 moment to get a drink. I'll be right back. Entertain my audience for like 30 seconds, if that's okay. And then we'll get right into it. Sounds good? If you're talking Cypher, no one can hear you.
We'll just hurl insults at one another while you're away.
Okay, I'll be right back while he fixes his stuff.
No. I think you have a cable loose, to be honest. No. You muted your headphones, I think. I think you may need a backup microphone if I...
Okay, I'm back. Is everyone all good to go? Is everyone all here and ready?
I think Cypher's struggling. I think he has a loose cable.
Oh no. Oh no.
Might have to.
Oh, what?
Oh, wait.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Let me turn you down a little bit. Can you turn yourself down actually? Just a smidge. People's elbow. I didn't go to the bathroom. I got a drink. I don't know. Of course I didn't wash my hands when I got a drink. Do you guys wash your hands before you get a soda out of the fridge? What's going on?
I put gloves on.
Is that what happens? Wash my hands? What, are my hands dirty? I didn't go to the bathroom. I just got a drink. Anyway, gang, I'm trying to switch gears here. We had a great couple hours where we went and discussed the Biden situation. But we're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk a little bit about Israel and Palestine. In the last few weeks in my Discord, our dear contestants, Philosophical, Zombie Hunter, and Cypher, had been going back and forth on a variety of subjects, and they have asked me to moderate a debate between the two of them on my channel, and I have agreed to do so. I will be staying out of it mostly. I will be asking questions when something is confusing to me, or if I don't understand what's going on, or I need further clarification. If I don't know what's going on, my audience probably doesn't know what's going on. I will also step in if you're yelling over each other, and then I will impose order. Are there any questions we have from either of you before we begin?
Is my audio okay?
You're fine,
Yeah,
man.
Okay. Can you guys hear me though?
You're
Intermittently.
cutting at the end, right? Your end of your sentences. End of your sentences are being cut off.
You know what it could be? I think you have a filter that thinks you'll only picks up loud voices. No.
Uh-oh, now we can't hear you at all. Maybe we'll be having this debate. Depends if he can fix his audio. If not, then it's a problem. We might have to push this back.
I mean, I can do my intro while he fixes his audio.
Well, he'll interrupt it while he's trying to speak. So let's I don't even know what's going on right now, but okay, the topic, Philosophical Zombie Hunter. Tell us the topic while we're here, while we're waiting.
The topic is Gaza the day after. We are discussing and disagreeing what will happen after the Gaza war is concluded.
Do we think that the Gaza war will be concluded anytime soon?
I mean, it will either be concluded shortly or up to 7 months.
fair enough.
That's the
So
time
within
range.
the year is what you would say. Okay, that's fair. I don't rightly know, but I guess we'll get into it as we go. If, and it's a big if, Cypher's audio works. No,
Just go with
nothing.
your computer audio.
Hey. Well, Charmhole is putting out some numbers here. 200,000 civilians slaughtered. That's a high number. Are you talking about since the beginning of Israel? If you're talking just about this conflict, it's nowhere near 200,000. It's a lot, but it's not anywhere near 200,000. No, yeah, it's Charmhole. No, we haven't seen Charmhole in a while, but he's back. Okay. Nope. Damn it, gang. Okay, well, maybe we're not going to do that tonight. Maybe we just won't. Maybe, you know what? I've had a good show. Maybe I should just take the rest of the night off. I don't know.
Wait while you're ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you
You
guys...
know, Cypher works in the tech industry.
Panther Man says, are minors allowed to debate in your stream or no? No. If you are a minor, you are not allowed in my community. Not because, there's anything wrong with you, but I just 18 plus gang. I suppose you could watch the show if you'd like, but it really is an adults only space. Yeah, that's just how it is. But yeah, we'll give him a few more minutes, see if he can fix it. If you can't, we'll just call it. But yeah, and other than that, how have you been, buddy? How's that going with you?
Yeah, pretty well. Moved to a bigger house recently.
Oh, an upgrade. Nice.
Yeah, space for the kids to roam around.
Well, sounds good. Like, I'm glad that you're on the up and up. I'm glad things are working out for you, and sounds good. I
Thank you.
actually am going to go to Florida in a couple weeks here. I'm going to go see my parents, right? And that'll be fun. I haven't seen them. This will be my first time this year seeing them, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So it'll be nice to actually spend some time with them, spend a week with them, and, just relax and enjoy. Pantman says, on an unrelated note, since one of your debaters can't speak, what's your opinion on existentialism? I tend not to have an opinion on existentialism. I live, and therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. I exist. That's my opinion, I suppose. But here's how we're going to do this. If by 6:10 we can't get our buddy Cypher here, I'm going to call it. He says he's reinstalling Discord. Okay. Hopefully he can reinstall Discord. The problem is with this is, and I love you, Cypher, right? But this is dead air, man. It's like 10 minutes of dead air, and I don't know what to do about it, right? I guess I could just promote some stuff coming up. Oh, gang, if you like the stream, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the discussion, do you guys want to see more stuff like that, by the way? Where it's just a bunch of the boys getting together, talking politics, right? Discussing strategy. Did you enjoy that? I enjoyed that. Do you want to see more of that kind of stuff? We can arrange it. Obviously, Adam wants to do more of that stuff. I think it'd be a good draw. Yeah. Hello. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We can't hear you. Cypher, no. Ruh-roh, Raggy. People's Elbow says, no, watching you boys, quote-unquote, delude yourselves into thinking that Biden's mental and cognitive business is not impaired, is not entertaining or enlightening. Just saying, at Wick TV. Well, that's fine. You know what? Maybe I should do one with just a bunch of the right-wing boys, right? Would you come on and be a right-wing boy and talk about the right-wing issues? I'm more than willing to do that. Testy Johnson says, do more of it only because it makes debate board angry. I'm sold. Fair enough. Aircraft Sparky says, I would do that. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. It might be interesting. Like, I think there's value in the right-wing perspective, right? I think there's value. I'm a Democrat, to be clear, right? If you guys haven't picked up on that yet, I am a Democrat. I lean center-left. I am very much in favor of a lot of democratic policies, both in foreign policy and domestic policy, all of that. But I think that there's a lot that the right has that is valuable. I think that we make a mistake when we just exclude them from these conversations. I think that they should be heard and their voice does matter. And I think that they have some good ideas from time to time. Okay. Pantherman24 says, when I asked your opinion on existentialism, I was referring to the existentialist movement like Karl Jasper, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Martin Heidegger, Friedrich Nietzsche, and Soren Kierkegaard. I'm not educated enough on the movement itself to talk about it, so I don't. Sorry. Okay. Well, Bach. Yeah, I saw him tag me in the Discord, but that was before he came back. He already reinstalled it. Polar Knight says, darn it, I misclicked. This is not Asian Bunny. It could be for enough gift subs. If you gift me enough subs, I will do my best Asian Bunny impression, okay? I will, again, if I can get 10 gift subs, I'll take my shirt off. How's that, gang? 10 gift subs in Twitch, and I take my shirt off right now. Can we do it? Can we get 10 gift subs in chat? Or a $50 super chat would work, I suppose. Is the debate happening? I don't know if it is. I don't know if Cypher is going to be able to fix his shit. Zephyr
Is he
Hash,
back on?
I haven't seen him jump back on. I'm giving him a few more minutes. Wick,
Okay.
why do you continue to unashamedly partake in the worship of Satan by supporting the demon rats? Asking for a friend. Well, thank you for the $5. It's just one of those things, right? Beelzebub commands me, and I must obey. I have pledged my soul to the Dark Masters and the Dark Lords. Dark Brandon is my liege, and I will defend him, okay? And those power-hungry Kabbalists trying to overthrow him will have to get through me, okay? Will have to get through me. Ripping and 8 earring. Ripping and a tearing. Okay. How do you feel about the evidence of President Sunday botting his channel being put out there? I haven't seen this evidence. President Sunday being a lying botter doesn't surprise me, but I've seen no evidence either way. I can't speak to it. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if it's true. It's 6:10 p.m. When's the Sank debate? Why does everyone think it's today? The Senk debate's on Saturday. Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We will have Senk. We will have Destiny. We will have Joe Walsh. And we will have Brianna Wu. But that's Saturday, my dear friends. Okay, Saturday. Okay. It's
Should be working now.
talk for a little. Make sure you're not clipping again.
Can you hear me okay? Is it going out enough time or anything?
No.
Is it
It's
bad?
robots.
It's robots again? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So let me try this thing.
I only got like one
Just-
more chance. One
I
more chance,
really-
buddy.
All right, I got it. So I changed the microphone input. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank God. Okay. Welcome. Okay, gang. Oh, we did it. We solved. We may not solve Israel-Palestine tonight, but we solved Cypher's audio issues. Now he has video issues. Beautiful.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm
you're
good. It's
Okay,
good.
you're good.
It's just I gotta pull up Discord as well. I mean,
Okay. We're
OBS.
good. Okay, gang. Let's start this again. Welcome.
I apologize, everybody. I had to reinstall Discord.
Sure.
It's
And-
messing up with my audio.
And
stuff.
I understand I'm mispronouncing people's names. Jenk, I will get it by Saturday. I promise you. Okay, I promise you. This will be something I do. I'm just not used to saying his name. My bad. I do this with a lot of words, and this is a little bit of a side, but I pronounced colonel for years because I learned words by reading them. And so I will embarrass myself time to time by severely mispronouncing a word. I know what it means. I know what I'm referring to, but because I have been learning through reading, I don't know how to pronounce them. Lieutenant, yeah, I pronounced it. I pronounced that lieutenant for a little bit, lieutenant. That was not one I ever did too badly on, but there's been a few. Okay. Welcome to yet another episode of WIC TV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues with political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Gang, have we got a show for you today? Tonight, we have the Cypher Report, as well as Philosophical Zombie Hunter, to discuss Gaza the day after, when the military operation, the war, the genocide, whatever you want to call it, when that is done, okay? The day after, what happens, right? What happens to Gaza? Is it occupied? Is it destroyed? Is it given a second state? I don't know. We're going to find out today. We are going to give the mic to first Philosophical Zombie Hunter and then Decipher. So, Philosophical Zombie Hunter, the day after in Gaza. What's your take here? What's your position? What do you got? Give it to us.
Okay, I got a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm going to try and share that.
What?
Oh, I can't share it.
If you give us what you got. Like, if you wanted me to share a presentation, you needed to let me know before, and I could have arranged that. But
I can't do it. Okay, I'll just read it out.
I need to give you permissions and.
No, that's fine. I'll just read it out.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So basically, the way I see it for Gaza the day after, there's three scenarios. One is the first being that Israel loses, and it loses to get its hostages back. The second situation is Israel wins with international support, specifically about administrating Gaza after the day after. And the third option is what's called the United Emirates of Palestine, which I'll explain later. There are two things that cannot happen after when everything is over. The first thing being is the two-state solution is essentially dead. In October 7th, Gaza was used as a springboard for an invasion. A state for the Palestinians could serve as another springboard for an invasion in the future. So that kind of is the nail on the coffin in that scenario. Israel left Gaza in 2005. Israel left Lebanon in 2000. Both Lebanon and Gaza are currently at war with Israel. So from Israel's security point of view, this is not going to work. And I would even argue further that the two-state solution perpetuates a forever war. Because there's always an excuse to attack Israel. There's always an excuse to blame Israel as the oppressor in an effort to withdraw Western support. There's always some reason never to accept a peace agreement from the Palestinian side, which has like the situation where the Palestinians are both extremely oppressed and in their area and also extremely demanding to never accept a peace deal. The other thing that can't happen in the day after is that Israel cannot really continue working with the United Nations or any agencies or NGOs that work with the United Nations. For those who don't know, the UN condemns Israel more than all the rest of the world combined. NGOs publish a paper against Israel for every 9 Palestinians that die, versus 2,506 to all the worst other countries combined. Those papers are then used to litigate Israel in the ICC, ICJ. So it's kind of like a factory of 95% of the work of these NGOs is to litigate Israel. And the UN largely sorry.
Let him get
I'm
through.
sorry. Wait, is this a? Yeah, that's fine. Wrap
it up
Go
a
ahead.
little bit, right? Let's get.
Well,
I want to get to the heart of it. So.
Okay, so I'll move on then. I had a slide about facts about the war, so I guess I can go over that later. So basically, the three outcomes. Israel loses, so Israel cannot get its hostages from Hamas. As we saw recently, the hostages are also hidden in civilian civilian homes. There's huge Palestinian civilian support for Hamas at this stage, either, as I mentioned, holding hostages, restocking or rearming, recruiting new candidates. And Sinwar has said that he has Israel right where he wants them. At some point, the Israeli public is going to pressure the Israeli government to make a deal, and that deal will only be for Hamas to remain. What does that mean? It means that Israel will create a large buffer zone between Israel and Gaza. Israel will cease all trade and economic activity with Gaza, including disallowing worker visas, but it will allow foreign aid to come in. It will probably replace the fences with large concrete walls. It will start a process, what we've seen in this conflict, of a long process of asymmetric warfare that Israel will basically strike inside Gaza for the foreseeable future whenever it notices significant buildup of forces or weapons.
Okay.
And it also will begin a process of fighting Lebanon and Iran, because
It would be
losing to Hamas would be perceived as a weakness, and October 7 is the way to destroy Israel.
Okay. So I'm just going to cut to the chase for the thing. What do you think should happen on October? The war ends. Should Gaza be given back to the Palestinian Authority? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Great. Cypher, give us what you got.
Yeah, so the likely scenario based on everything that's happening globally, as well as where the United States position is, regardless if Trump wins or Biden wins the presidency in 2024, the likely situation is that Gaza will be reoccupied for some time. How long that is anybody's guess. A lot can happen in 3-4 years, but as long as Bibi Netanyahu is prime minister, Gaza will be occupied to some extent, and some of that might be justified. Obviously, Hamas cannot be given a territory from which it can launch attacks from, and that means in order for Israel to have its proper security, some occupation will have to happen. However, with that said, my opinion is that as long as the right-wing government in Israel continues to dominate Israeli politics, that occupation will follow a similar vein as the West Bank, which will include security checkpoints throughout the thing, the military basically being the de facto in charge, with some modicum of a little bit of autonomy possibly given to some Palestinian authority. Not necessarily PLO, because Bibi Netanyahu has already said that they will not Fatahize, I think that's how you would pronounce that, the West Bank, or the Gaza Strip, and that would be unacceptable. And there's been vague gestures on that since basically before the war began, but after the war began in earnest, he's been saying it multiple times, where he will not allow the PLO in its current iteration to control the Gaza Strip. What should happen from all this is, in order to guarantee Israeli security, there needs to be a deal of some sort that allows Palestinians to have full autonomy in some fashion, and for there to be security guarantees, whether that is a deal with the other Arab countries, including Iran, because Iran cannot be left out of this as well if we actually want peace in the area, and rebuilding of the area, more economic opportunity, and more self-determination to be allowed for the Palestinian people. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a two-state solution to get that. It could be a federated system where there is a Palestinian state, like the United States has a state, and an Israeli state, and then there is a single state structure to promote that. Whether that's going to happen, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's the least likely to happen. But
what do you
some
think
sort
is
of
going to
autonomy.
happen?
What I think what is going to happen is that Bibi is going to remain in power as long as he can, and then whoever takes over from him will continue on the policy of Palestinian oppression, and the eventual cementing of a secondary class secondary class status for all Palestinians, regardless of where they live, minus the 15% or whatever to live in Israel proper.
Just to guide this debate, because PowerPoint's tech issues, we're going to need some guidance here, so I'm going to jump in a little bit here to kind of push this forward, and this is to both of you, okay? The war ends. What should Israel do next with Palestine, with Gaza specifically? And tell me why.
What time horizon?
In the next couple of years, right? For the immediate foreseeable
I
future.
like the United Emirates of Palestine, which I think Cypher was alluding to with the federated solution.
Where do we disagree here then?
The disagreement, I think. Go ahead.
I disagree on everything. Apart from that federated solution, I disagree on everything he said.
Okay, tell me why. Give us the main disagreements you
The
have.
highlights.
With Cypher. Yeah, the highlights.
So
please.
occupation of Gaza. I mean that there's no appetite for that, and in fact, even the army right now, it's not occupying Gaza. It's clearing some place and leaving. It's not staying to occupy it. Full autonomy.
It's destroyed. Why occupy the places that are already destroyed? There's nothing there for anybody to use.
It only destroyed 16% of Gaza, and the issue is
where is that number coming from?
The IDF.
So the IDF is claiming it only destroyed 16% of Gaza.
Correct.
How much of that is left over in Rafah?
It gave that out, I think, 3 days ago.
No. I'm saying they have not moved into Rafah yet. Correct? Not.
Oh, halfway into Rafah when they gave that figure. Yeah.
Okay. So they're claiming that they're halfway into Rafah.
Can I just continue because?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, full autonomy for security. I mean, Gaza had full autonomy for, 16, 18 years. I don't see how giving them full autonomy is basically saying, build those tunnels, build those terror infrastructure, arm yourselves, and then have some kind of coordinated attack against Israel. I mean, how can you say that?
You don't think that Gaza had full autonomy given all
Yes, I think Gaza had full autonomy.
Even though that Gaza was
literally an autonomous territory. Well, let me just explain. It's literally an autonomous territory with a court system, police, 24 brigade army, a navy, and it was like that. It built 300 miles of terror tunnels under certain civilian buildings. I mean, you can say that it was a belligerent entity, and its neighboring countries, both Israel and Egypt, didn't really like it that much, so they put some border security. But it's in itself, it was autonomous. Sorry.
Some border security.
Some border security.
They wrapped it in cement walls and then prevented any goods from not any goods.
Any goods? How come
that would be hyperbolic? I'm correcting myself. Stop.
How come all the supermarkets are full of food?
Yeah, let Cypher explain and elaborate, please. Explain and elaborate.
Not any goods, because that would be hyperbolic, and I apologize to the audience because that's not fair to them. But they had a numerous different kinds of goods that were prevented from getting into the Gaza Strip. That included building materials. That included some certain kinds of metals. That included certain types of agricultural products, stuff like that, which did, for all intents and purposes, create a situation where Gaza could not be fully developed. Now, you can argue that some of those things were actually on the list because of security concerns. I know that this is a thing that, didn't trip Destiny up, but they were saying, they can't have cookies because of the sugar, right? And they were making rockets out of sugar. Fine. They're making rockets out of sugar. Let's just give them that one, right? But the other stuff do you want to honestly say that you need to have every single type of not every single type of building material, but a lot of building materials being not allowed in for security reasons, like cement? Come on.
So your point is completely irrelevant and largely bullshit.
How is it irrelevant and bullshit?
I'll explain. I'll explain. So there was still an autonomous territory, even if you say, well, there were restrictions, but that's irrelevant to them being an autonomous territory. Now, with regards to them getting stuff into Gaza, I mean, 91% of the concrete that were used to build building, and I mean like lavish building, like 4 meters high ceiling kind of building, all marble, $50,000 like furniture. There were like some serious expensive building in Gaza. There's 1,200 millionaires and billionaires in Gaza.
Well, now we all know.
Hold on. 91% of concrete was smuggled in. All the supermarkets were fully
smuggled in.
You can literally go.
So they're saying.
Let me just finish my damn point.
Finish your point. Then we have to.
You can literally go and You can literally go to day in the life in Gaza. If you type it in Arabic, either TikTok or Google or
Sure.
YouTube from 2 years ago, you'll see someone going to the supermarket.
Yep.
You'll see advertising for a new car dealership that sells German cars or sells like a butcher or meat, and you can see all these for yourselves. Don't trust all the hype around how poor they were. I mean, obviously some places were very poor, but some places were also very rich. And
Yeah,
they managed to get things in. Go ahead.
So they managed to get things in despite the blockade because they were smuggling it in through tunnels. If Israel had its way for the actual blockade to exist, that stuff would not have gotten in. So that would have meant that there would have been less building and less building and the ability to create some sort of economic independence in Gaza had they not circumvented those restrictions. Now, what do those restrictions also do? Those restrictions also actually helped Hamas stay in power. And the reason why I say that is because anytime there's any kind of outside entity putting any sort of restrictions on a group of people, whether it be, Palestinians in the West Bank, Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, black people in the American South during Jim Crow, all these type of things. Anytime that happens, the more radical elements of those groups end up gaining some sort of power. So in order for Israel to actually have its own security issues alleviated, they need to come to some sort of arrangement that allows Palestinians to have the autonomy and the ability to come up with their own self-determination of some sort. I'm not an ethno-nationalist. I'm not going to say that they need their own state necessarily, because ethnic nationalism is bullshit, but we can quibble over those things later.
I can reply. So technically, it's still irrelevant to the point of autonomous. You're just saying it's nice to have if they had these things, but it doesn't change the fact that it was still autonomous. Now, with regarding to economic independence, they will always be reliant on Israel to some degree. Israel is the largest economic player by far, but it's got $500 billion or 525 billion economy. Everyone else is like a fraction of that, a tenth of that even. So it will always be the largest economic player, and for people in Gaza to be wealthier, they'll have to work more with Israel, either inside of it as a variety of different options, or trade with it. Now, with regards to what you're saying, just last point, Bibi already did what you're suggesting. In 2019, he released a sort of manifesto or path forward called "Shrinking the Conflict," which the idea was if you can't have a political peace, at least you'll have an economic peace. So what he tried to do is he tried to make the people in Gaza and the people in the West Bank wealthier and discourage them from going to Hamas. So some examples would be they handed out more visas, they trained, they paid like $100 million to train Gazans and people from Palestinians in general, to have skills that are relevant in Israel. They improved the West Bank's infrastructure for internet and telephony. They had corridors for the West Bank so containers can come in faster and they'll be like checked in, or can go directly into like the factory or warehouse. And they did all these things so you basically have an economic peace. So the Palestinians will have something to lose if they start a conflict.
Right. But how does that in any way... So Bibi tried to do economic for peace rather than land for peace. He never agreed with land for peace. That's why he thought that the withdrawal from Gaza in 2000... Is it 5? I might be wrong on the year. 2005, 2006, whenever the full withdrawal happened.
Yes.
Yeah, whenever it fully happened, right? And he came out, said this was the worst thing that could ever be happen. This is like either a few years after or a few years before. He said that the largest question in Israel is not necessarily the autonomy of Gaza or the West Bank, but the Palestinians inside Israel with citizenship. So there's that as well.
But to some degree, he was right. No, like we just had October.
No,
7th,
he was not right because
but something really
hold
bad
on.
happened.
Hold on. Let him tell. Okay, so the claim here is that he was wrong. I'm going to let you elaborate on why he was wrong first, and then I'm going to let Cypher rebut. That's the order we're going to go in.
But just my point is that October 7 happened.
That's it. Okay.
That was it. That was the point.
Rebut, please.
So the reason why Benjamin Netanyahu was wrong about this is because Benjamin Netanyahu also tried to prop up Hamas against Fatah in order to keep Palestinian division going, in order to prevent the creation of a Palestinian state, which is part of the Likud's, if I pronounce that right, party's internal doctrine since its founding. And it has not been one of those things that have evolved over time. It has been a core point of its party platform. And this is this thing that the Israeli right, from just left of Bibi Netanyahu all the way over to that one weird finance guy that just wants to glass the entire area. These are things that they all agree with. Palestinians cannot be allowed to have a Palestinian state, and that Israel must have control of the territory. They changed the one wording from like full political control to military security control 2017 or so, or somewhere around there in one of their recent reiterations. Similar to how Hamas changed their political stance from
just so I'm
Israel
clear,
can't exist to, Israel can exist, but it doesn't have a right to exist as a Jewish state.
Just so I'm clear on your point, you're saying he was wrong because he propped up Hamas and Hamas made October 7th, therefore he's to blame?
No, obviously Bibi is not 100% to blame for this. Now we can talk about the security failures that happened. What I'm saying is,
pause. What are you saying with regards to Bibi's point that if you give Gaza autonomy, then you'll get
Gaza was not given autonomy in the way that would have prevented Hamas from doing these things.
Okay,
and the other thing that has to be mentioned here is that everybody wants to separate Gaza from the West Bank. That includes Israeli Jews, American political science people, people in Europe. Everybody wants to separate these two issues as if they're completely separate issues, right?
Well, we're also going to separate them because we're talking about Gaza today.
Hold on. Both of you stop. Cypher, why should we not separate those issues?
Thank you. So the reason we should not separate those issues is because the Palestinian people, the people that are at fault for some of this conflict, don't separate the issues themselves. They see them as brothers in arms against oppression. Now, that's again how leftists see it as well. We can talk about how. What?
Where do you get this nonsense?
What do you mean? Where I get this nonsense?
They see them in brothers in arms.
Hold on, both of you. Philosophical zombie hunter. Why is he wrong about this?
Because essentially, like if you look at the West Bank and Gaza, they're all broken up into tribes. There's no unity, and even if you think about it, like the West Bank is vastly different than Gaza. Gaza is like a city, a very like a dense city, and the West Bank is like an open, rural, mountainous area. Gaza are people largely from Egypt. And the West Bank are largely people from Jordan. What is this unity? I don't understand what he's talking about.
You don't understand what I'm talking about because you want to keep them separate in order to perpetuate.
Yes, I'm a bigot. Okay, I just gave you a reason. Can you reply?
No. You are saying that they do not see themselves as Palestinians. They don't see themselves. They see themselves as Jordanian and Egyptians. That is not how they do this. That is not how they operate. That's not how they ever operated since 1942.
Hold on. What I believe is being said, just so we don't crosstalk or talk past each other here. When people separate these issues, one of the reasons they do that, and you could say that it's a mistake to do it, is because the issues at play are separate, and they may see them as part of the same overall problem of Israel existing, right? But
I think that's not fair.
Issues in the settlements are a different thing than the issues that are happening in Gaza. Do we disagree?
The reason that I disagree. The reason that I disagree with this is because of the point that I was trying to make, which is the Palestinian people themselves do not see these two issues as separate. A large chunk of the motivating, if you want to say it's just Islamist, fine, we're never going to agree. But in my opinion, the large motivating factor here that continues to give Hamas support is the oppression that is happening in the West Bank. And that includes with Area A, B, and C. Right? Area A and B have a Area A has more autonomy than B.
Once he finishes, you can respond. I promise.
Okay, go ahead.
We can acknowledge that Area A has more autonomy than Area B, and B has more autonomy than Area C. Area C is the least amount of autonomy. It's pretty much controlled directly by the Israeli military. even though that is the case, in all of those areas, settlements are being built. The Israeli military, the IDF, goes in under the law, Israeli law, to destroy quote unquote shanty towns in order to bring them up to building code and kick the people out from people that have been there for years. It is a similar issue to what happened when. Never mind. I'm going to let that one slide. Go ahead.
Okay. If you think that the recent attack, October 7th, sorry, the recent invasion, was because of the oppression in the West Bank, why didn't Hamas mention that as the reason for the Al-Aqsa flood?
They don't have to, because it's.
So let me make a point then. I don't think you're actually.
And everybody else does.
I don't think you're actually looking at the facts. I think you're West-plaining through your lens what is happening.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's not what's happening in the region. And they never mentioned anything about the West Bank in the Al-Aqsa flood. So I'm not sure why you're necessarily associating it.
What did they mention?
Well, they mentioned that like a few months before then that the Israeli police went into the Al-Aqsa mosque and took some people out of there. That was the Al-Aqsa flood.
Okay.
Hold on. Do we disagree? Hold on. Oh, okay. Just to maybe interrogate you a little bit, Cypher, and I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. You know I disagree with you on some of these things. But
yeah, no.
I guess I'll ask you this. If the West Bank problems didn't exist, do you think October 7th still happens or no?
That I'm not entirely sure of, to be honest with you. If it didn't exist, my position here would be different. But since it exists, my position is what it is. Now, if it didn't exist, I don't know if Hamas would have as much support as it does among the Palestinian people. That includes people in the West Bank, and that includes people in the Gaza Strip. Because Hamas is shit. Everybody knows that Hamas is shit. Palestinians know that Hamas is shit. But when they attacked Israel, and then Israel responded in the way that it did, that is what ended up pushing the support for Hamas up. They got
wait, hold on. Are you saying that support for Hamas went up because Israel is oppressing Gaza?
It went up because of how Israel responded to the Al-Aqsa flood.
And nothing to do with how successful Hamas was at invading Israel? You don't think?
I mean, it's both. It's both. But
would you say the reason?
The polls. Hold on. The polls before October 7th indicated that Hamas was losing some support, not a lot, but some support in the Gaza Strip, and its support in the West Bank was pretty much the same. It's been for like the last 3 or 4 years. And then afterwards, they had another poll that was done. I want to say it was like 2 months after it came out. 2 months after. I don't know when they actually were able to poll people in the West Bank for that. There's a whole issue with that.
Get to the point, please.
Them, and some of say that again.
Get to the point, please.
Oh, okay, fine. So I do think that that part of the reason why the Palestinians, especially in the West Bank, are supportive of Hamas is because of how they responded and the continued settlement creation that is happening within the West Bank currently.
Okay, I think you don't know anything about anything.
That's fine.
I agree.
Hold
I agree
on.
with
Philosophical Zombie Hunter. You have to be more specific. You can't just say, "I think
yeah,
you're
let
wrong."
me
Be specific.
let me expand. I agree with Wick that the thing that's uniting the people in the West Bank and Gaza is their hatred of Israel, and it shows in the polling numbers when Hamas attacked Israel. And also,
do you think that hate's not justified at all?
Let me finish. Also, in universities in America, everyone was elated at how successful Hamas was at their invasion. Everyone was. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, you had people in the UK.
Do you mean some of the few protesters that happened?
I would like to finish what I wanted to say. You had people on the 7th of October at night, left-wing people and Muslim people around outside the Israeli embassy in London celebrating for what happened on October 7th. Sure. So people were elated at how successful Hamas was, at successful in quotations, at their invasion. And that's what seems to unify the West Bank and Gaza. It's very obvious. And
it's hatred of Israel. But why is that hatred of Israel?
You really have to try hard to not.
I don't have to try at all.
You really
I don't have to try hard at all. You are trying to make this be simply anti-Semitic, and I am telling you that there's realities on the ground.
Where did I say
that? So hatred of Israel is the only thing that's motivating this. Why do they hate Israel?
Why do they hate Israel?
Yes.
That's a That's a long topic. I suggest you see some kind of Douglas Murray video on that. because I
Douglas
can answer-
Murray. Douglas Murray is
Yeah.
a weaselly piece of shit, and I will say that to everybody that's in this
He's
audience.
an
and I know
articulate,
that people-
intelligent person.
Oh,
but
he's
I want to go back.
Hold on,
reasonable.
hold on,
And
hold
I
on.
need to
Wait,
I need
we're
to do a
not
video
here.
on
Like-
that.
Hold on,
Doesn't
stop,
matter.
stop, all of you. We're not here to debate Douglas Murray. I don't care about Douglas Murray. But let's address this point of
One second.
is there a
wait,
justification? Because I think it's worth talking about. Are they justified in their hate? And the second question, the follow-up question to that would be, if they are, so what?
I'm not sure like how to justify in their hate. I mean, I would say no.
Okay.
I would say that basically ever since Jews migrated into Israel from like the late 19th century, and certainly in the early 20th century, Arabs were not too keen on Jews staying in the area. There were massacres, there were pogroms, there was a large Arab revolt in between 36 to 39.
Yeah.
This is before a state, before any oppression, before any and everything. So I can't really see how you can claim that just Israel being there is not like a core reason. If you go back in time far enough, before Israel was there, before any occupation and whatnot, I don't agree with the term anyway.
Yeah, I know.
How can you say that it's not that?
I want to know the reason why they hate Israel. Why do they hate it? You didn't give me a reason why they hated it.
Why I think they hate it?
Yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hold
if
on,
it's true or not. I wanna know what you think.
Steelman's position for us, philosophical zombie hunter. Steelman the position of why do Palestinians hate Israel, please.
I think Palestinians hate Israel because Israel was successful in pushing back 5 Arab armies when at the time Jews were seen as like the worst of the worst, the refugees that no country wanted, the
So
emaciated.
it's jealousy.
Hold on, envy, emaciated Holocaust, emaciated Holocaust survivors. All those put together were able to beat back 5 Arab armies. Now, particularly in Islam, people who want to see. So let me phrase it in another way. Before, they were beaten by the British Empire. That's fine because the British Empire was big and strong. These Jews who were dhimmis, who were second-class citizens, who were not allowed to ride on horses, they had to ride on donkeys. They were weak. They were pushed from everywhere. No one liked them. They were able to beat back the 5 Arab armies. And if Islam would like to rise again, then they have to destroy Israel, because Israel is like if you look at the map.
I'm going
of the
to
Middle
translate
East.
to you what I heard. Okay.
Okay.
What I heard is that it's because they lost and they have resentment and animosity because they lost, and also because of Islam. Is that a fair assessment of what you said?
If with regards to the second point though, if Islam is to rise again, if you look at the map of the Middle East, like there's like all of North Africa and the Middle East are all Arab Muslim countries, and then there's like one tiny spot which is Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And if Islam is supposed to like conquer and proceed and rise again, then they have to get rid of that, and all that area has to be fully Muslim, especially as it was once
because
belonged
Islam.
to Muslims.
Because of Islam.
Well,
because the Islam
I
is
specified, but okay. I
No,
specified,
I'm
but
saying
okay.
that. Yeah, it's specified, but at the end of the day, that's what you're saying, though, because you believe that Islam is the Islam is one of if not the key motivating factor here.
Certainly, Hamas. Certainly, it's a motivating factor for Hamas and the IRCG, and probably Hezbollah. I think they moved away. Once upon a time, it was national secularism with Arafat and probably before him. But now it's very much religious. It's
but this again ignores the realities on the ground, and we have to talk.
It does not.
Yes, it does.
It's perfectly with the realities on the ground.
It is ignoring the realities on the ground, and it's also giving way too much. It's also giving way too much credence It's giving way too much credence to the fact that they lost, and it's Islam. So let's do a brief history lesson, because I think this is what's necessary.
I don't know if we need to hold on. When you say brief, please.
I mean super brief. Okay. So super brief. All right. How did
Before you start, can I just at some point I want to go back to Gaza and Bibi and all that stuff you left off before. Go ahead.
Sure. So, how did Jewish people move to Palestine? They moved to Palestine.
Well, they always had a presence there.
Okay,
but
how
at
did
some
the
point they
Jewish
migrate.
diaspora? Fine. How did the Jewish diaspora that existed in Europe and the United States and other places in the world move to Palestine? They moved in a number of different ways. They moved there by just moving there and taking land that was unoccupied, literally just empty land. They set up shop. They went and they bought land from the Ottomans, and they bought land from the people that owned the land there. Okay, when they bought land from the Ottomans, what did they do? They had a Western outlook about how land ownership worked. And that was not what the exact way that the Ottomans and Arabs had been treating land ownership for the last 100 years, because they had not adopted full-blown capitalism and property rights. So when they bought it from the Ottomans, they turned around and kicked the people off the land that were there, that had been there for at sometimes hundreds of years, right? Do you think that that's going to piss anybody off if that happened? Would that legitimately piss?
I don't care.
I know you don't care. But this is part
It's
of
irrelevant.
the
It's just irrelevant.
It is not irrelevant.
So they had bad feelings. What else?
They had bad feelings about it, right?
Okay,
so that's going to piss them off.
They felt bad. What else?
And then the British mandate for Palestine went away, and it gave way to the Jewish state. Is this not correct?
Well,
just generally.
Look, I have to say, I'm happy to answer all this because I'm very familiar with the history. I just have to say, why is it that every time there's like a massive terrorist attack, we have to go back to 1917?
The reason that we have to go all the way back to that is because people like you refuse to acknowledge the realities of the realities on the ground.
Listen,
and you want to make it only. I'm going to finish this point.
I'm still talking.
I'm going to finish this point.
I'm still talking though.
Okay, both of you are going to shut up for a moment. Okay, Cypher, finish your point. Then philosophy Hunter can respond.
It's fine.
The reason why that we have to go all the way back to 1917 or even 1880 is because everything that has happened since then has been a general tit-for-tat bullshit and people like you do not want to acknowledge this and always boil it down to it's Islam and jealousy. That's it. It's always those 2 points. Okay. And you're not actually giving credence to the fact that there's oppression, there's land being stolen, and all these other stuff that actually impact the material realities on the ground.
Go ahead, respond, uninterrupted. Philosophy.
I just think it's like deeply insulting every time there's like a massive massacre of Jews, or even like a suicide bus bomb or something. Like, oh, the reason why this bus bombing happened is because in 1917. Like, no, it's because some crazy person put on a suicide vest and went on a bus. That's why they did it.
Yes, that is why it happened.
You can't keep infantilizing these people and say they don't have any agency. They are choosing violence. They are choosing. There's no listen. They are adults. They have agency. They are choosing violence. They could choose other things. You don't see Israel wearing suicide vests and going to cafes in Germany.
No, they just assassinate their own prime minister.
You don't see these in other things, in other cultures. That you have to at least admit these people are choosing to take violence, and you can't keep every single time like stroking them, saying no, it's okay. You've been oppressed for like 100 years. It's not. They're choosing terrorism.
It's called an explanation.
The explanation is that they.
Okay.
Explanation is they chose it.
We are circling the drain here, and I want to just kind of push on a couple points, right? To philosophical zombie hunter first. I'll push on you. You do recognize that regardless of if it's true or not, there are a lot of Palestinians, a lot of Gazans who feel that the Israelis have oppressed them. That they are in, what's it called, an open-air prison, that they have been unjustly targeted and kept from having a state that they wish to have. You understand and you would acknowledge that this is how they feel. Regardless if it's true or whether you agree with them, can you acknowledge that that's how they feel?
I disagree that they want to have a state.
You don't think they want to have a state? What?
No, I think they want. I think that they don't want to have a state. And they're clear about it. I think they want Israel to not exist. They don't want to have a state. They want Israel to not be a state.
Now, I think even Hamas, since 2014, has amended its not constitution. It's what is it? The party platform.
What did it say?
They
did it
amended
say?
it to. They amended it to something along the line. I have to relook it up because I didn't look it up right before.
What did they
amended
say?
to something that Israel as a state is a reality, but it does not have the right to be an oppressive ethnic state. It was
Right. So I'll tell you what it says. Hamas was kind of like humorously saying, "Yeah, we agree to a two-state solution as long as the state of Palestine will be a Jew-free country, and the state of Israel will be a majority Muslim, a majority Muslim country." I'm telling you, be a majority Muslim country where the Jews are a minority, and go back to being dhimmi status. I'm explaining to you what they agreed to. This is what they're expressing. They don't.
Where are they expressing that? I have not read this anywhere. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying I haven't personally seen this, and so I want evidence of this to be the case.
Great.
If it's in Arabic, fine. Give me an Arabic translation.
You go look that up.
I've looked up a lot of stuff, and I've never seen this at all.
Let's go back to Gaza and Bibi. You said that Gaza is not autonomous despite it being an autonomous area, and you said, I'm still manning you now. You said they're not autonomous because they didn't have absolute freedom to move across their borders.
That's not why I said they weren't autonomous. I said they weren't autonomous because of economic reasons, as well as the fact that they were not able to freely not move across borders because people can control their own borders. I have no problem with Israel setting up a border checkpoint to make sure that it has its own security. That's not the issue. The issue is the economic and the other things that go along with that.
Okay, look, I don't understand how they have economic issues per se. When all the leaders of Hamas are billionaires, and there's 1,200.
Well, I mean, whenever you have a
let me finish. Whoa!
Hold on, I can address this.
No, I don't. I'm not
I
asking.
don't think he's made his point yet. Hold on, Cypher.
Jesus
he hasn't made his
Christ.
point yet. Oh, did you just mess with your audio and now it's broke again? I'm going to be very, very angry.
No, I just turned my mic off.
Okay, philosophical Hunter. Finish your point and then go.
Thank you. The point with Bibi that people keep reciting is a myth. So the reporter that said that Bibi said that, he's trying to prop up Hamas, he was basically saying that in a meeting with other members of his cabinet so they can agree to a vote on it. He was politicking. The actual reason was because he was trying to do that, shrinking the conflict or that economic peace, where he wanted money to keep flowing into Gaza. So as you say, that people in Gaza would benefit from the money. Obviously, some Hamas members would take a cut, but still, the money would go in and people in Gaza would benefit from it. So your exact argument that they're trying to keep Gaza poor is not true. And you can see that there are very wealthy areas in Gaza. They were doing very well. They had a lot to lose from this invasion.
Anytime that there is an oppressive regime, which Hamas is a repressive regime,
Israel
all agree with that, it's going to end up enriching itself. That's always what happens. We can agree to that. The reason why I say that they are propping up Hamas with this money and everything like that in order to prevent a two-state solution is because, one, that's what Bibi has said. He said that numerous times since 2008.
I just debunked it.
No, you didn't debunk it. You claimed that he was politicking without any proof. That's not a debunk.
Even the reporter that said it said that's not the reason for it. He said he was just telling his cabinet member a story.
He was telling his cabinet member stories in order to politic. I understand that. That's fine. He might have been doing it at that moment. There are numerous instances of Bibi saying this out loud, time and time again, putting up maps that show all of Israel.
I'm not communicating them apparently very well. Everything I say is just completely ignored.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm saying that even if that was the case, so I'm going to give it to you, that there have been other statements done by Bibi Netanyahu to the contrary. Not only that, Bibi has undermined the PLO and Fatah at every conceivable chance that he could. When they worked for security, they gave up terrorist names. They gave up Hamas infiltrators that were coming into the West Bank. They gave these names up to Israel. And what did Israel do in return? Gave money to fucking Hamas and then took more land in the West Bank. He kneecapped Abbas.
Okay, you're not saying anything. You're not saying anything relevant. Can we just pinpoint? Can you explain to me how if you give, let's just take a blank slate. If Israel right now says, here you go, Gaza, just leaves Gaza, doesn't change the government, let's say tries to get rid of Hamas as much as possible, then leaves again and says you're an autonomous territory, how can you say that what happened October 7th won't happen again?
But that's not what I said would.
No, I'm asking you a
Oh,
question.
yeah, hold on.
I'm asking you a question.
Cypher, he's asking you if Israel is to take a less stern hand, for lack of a better term, on Fatah, on Hamas, on PLO, on all these people, right? Will that even work? Won't that simply just kick the can down the road, and then in 5 years, 10 years, there'll just be another October 7th?
So I'll answer both questions because I think Wick's question is actually different than Zombie's question. And the reason I say that is because Zombie's talking specifically about Israel not occupying or doing anything in Gaza and just giving Gaza autonomy, right? So I don't think that should happen because Hamas is shit. And Hamas needs to not have power or authority in Gaza. And that's going to require some sort of, for lack of a better term, occupation for at least a little bit while security is reestablished. And a civilian or whatever government can come in, whether it's from the outside with the Arab League or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's, principalities that exist everywhere, or not. Something like that's going to happen. And that's just justified. But if they did that, if they just left, then Hamas would consider that a victory, rebuild, even if they didn't get money from Israel, even if Israel didn't let them get any money, they would be funneled money from Qatar or Iran or Saudi Arabia, and they would just rebuild and they would commit another terrorist attack. But that's not what I'm saying that should happen. So I want that to be clear.
Yes.
To Wick's point, if Bibi actually worked with Fatah and the PLO and did it in earnest. Bibi's not going to do this, but we'll say Israel did it in earnest. If Israel actually started to give more autonomy in the West Bank after there's been security cooperations, after there's been all these things that have been given up, if they actually prosecuted murders that happened in the West Bank by Israeli citizens and settlers against Palestinians, if they did these things, the ability for Fatah or the PLO or whatever entity that exists at the time they start doing this would probably, in my estimation, become the partner for peace that Bibi so claims that he wants to have happen. But if that doesn't happen, they have no incentive to be because they're getting kicked in the balls every time they do anything that is slightly correct.
So
can I just reply to that point?
You may. We are going to wrap up soon, by the way. So yeah.
Okay. Even if Israel has a peace agreement with Fatah being the leader of the Palestinians, the Palestinians in the West Bank, and let's say, for argument's sake, that the West Bank will be like its own autonomous territory and/or state. Yeah, it doesn't matter and it doesn't matter in the sense that it will just be a matter of time till it changes to Hamas. Hamas is already more popular in the West Bank than the Palestinian Authority. So it will, at some point, win an election. And even if it does not win a democratic election, it will simply take over by force. It will arrange a coup. Hamas are extremely violent. And we've seen it happen already in Gaza. They'll simply take over control by force. So either through the ballot or through the gun, at some point, a second state would be run by Hamas.
Okay.
I don't believe that is true.
So
You've seen it happen already.
Hold on.
No, we haven't seen it happen already, but that's fine.
Can you name a time previous to Bibi that there has been a real peace movement in either Palestine, West Bank, Gaza, Israel, whatever you want to call it, right? Can you name any organization or group that has risen to power within the Palestinian territories that you would point to say, look, when Israel treats them at least not as bad as Bibi does, they're suing for peace?
Between 2000 and 2006, before the civil war between Hamas and Fatah.
That was the second intifada, and they had 140 suicide bombers during that time.
I know. You said you asked for organization, okay? I'm telling you where we have it, all right? Prior to the civil war between Fatah and Hamas, that was partly because they just wanted it themselves, partly because it was fomented. Because there's reason to believe that the Hamas just hit them before Fatah could hit them. Like there's some things about that, so that could be a thing. Not saying that's exactly what happened. That's just theory about it for the audience. During that time, there was moves to come to some sort of detente. Okay, and there was leadership within Fatah that was becoming more moderate. And I can't remember the guy's name. He's been brought up recently. I think he's the finance minister or something of Fatah, or the finance guy of Fatah.
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Sorry.
Yeah, but there's one guy. There's one guy who's been mentioned again recently, and he has been there. And then I think he was actually killed, or not him, not the guy that's been mentioned recently, but there was another guy that was, I think, killed during the Civil War. I'm a little fuzzy on those exact details, but that's when I think it could have happened. Another time it could have happened is when Abbas was working with Bibi and other people within the Israeli government to actually go against Hamas, one, and to also increase security between Israel and the Palestinians, just generally. They didn't have any control or any much influence in Gaza until like 2013 or 2014 when Hamas and Fatah started to have a detente. But that's around the time frames. We had those two different time frames. Yes, I understand that there was the second Intifada that happened. There was the bombings that it was the 90. This is before the second Intifada, but the 96 bombing, is that right? Zombie, is it the 96 or 97 bombing? The
talking about the suicide bombing?
Yeah, it was the bus one.
There's more than one, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that those bombings then, okay, the bus bombings that happened either 96 or 97.
Yeah, it was a pretty dark time to be in Israel. I remember.
No, I was
talking in our school. We were trying to figure out like how can we prevent Palestinians from blowing themselves up. That was the conversation in our classroom.
When you say your classroom, were you in college at the time? I'm just curious.
No, younger.
Okay. It not relevant. I was just curious. So yeah, and I know that. And what I was about to say is like those bombings kind of destroyed the Israeli left. And I say kind of. The Israeli left basically.
Let me tell you what destroyed the Israeli left. 2000. Sorry. So before 2000, the Israeli left and right were like 50-50, like one member of parliament apart, and you win the whole thing. We were very, very close. We had a far left, we had a very small far right. It was basically neck and neck the whole time. And in 2000, when Ehud Barak went to do the Camp David with Arafat.
Yeah.
At the time, I mean, I can kind of like explain the sentiment if I can, if Wix give me like a few minutes to do this. So basically,
hold on.
There was no.
Before you start, I just want to reiterate that I don't have all night, right? So if this is how you guys want to do it, we can. But go ahead.
I'll shorten it. Basically, we were waiting for 3 days. We were also moving out of southern Lebanon at the time. We were withdrawing from southern Lebanon. We were waiting night and day. They had their cell phones turned off. The whole 3 days, pundits on the television were saying, there's 3 options. If he's very generous, he'll do this. If he's not so much, he'll do that. And then like 3 days of this nonsense of pundits like telling us everyone's like biting their fingernails the whole time.
Okay.
And then Ehud Barak comes and says he agreed to offer them a ridiculously generous offer. I'm not saying like how the Palestinians saw it. I'm saying how the Israelis saw it.
Yeah, I understand.
A ridiculous generous offer. Like no one, like 95% of the country would not agree to it. I think that the Minister of Defense saying this is like a coup. And then like after they're telling us that Barak offered these things, like half a second later they're saying, and Arafat didn't accept this. So that just killed the Israeli left. That was like Israeli left right now. They want to vote.
That's fair.
They want to vote for left-wing parties, but no left-wing parties has actual solution to the security issues, which is number one. So that's why you're seeing these right-wing parties come up. But technically, like once upon a time, Israel fundamentally was a socialist country, a communist country. We have kibbutzim from the left. Like Avodah was like a massive party, and now it's like almost gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that started to. Yeah. What I was about to say doesn't matter. So I think it's fair to say that the denial of the deal that was offered did have a great contribution to the destruction of the Israeli left. I personally think the bombings had more to do with it, but I'm not Israeli, so I don't know exactly. Just my own take on that. I will say that in those deals, there was not anything that Arafat could have actually accepted in order for him to bring back to the Palestinians and what that kind of amalgamation of internal Palestinian power struggles that were happening. And the reason for that is that there wasn't any answer to the refugee question at all. There's been some reports by various people that were part of the talks at Camp David Accord and the Oslo Accords about Arafat saying that he couldn't accept it. There's been other analysts that said that because of what was offered and his own tenuous position of power within Fatah, that he couldn't accept it for those reasons as well. But everybody kind of agrees that there was not an answer to the refugee question, and that there wasn't a counter from Arafat for the refugee question. There's been talk that he wanted the Israelis to come over with some sort of offer for that. What that could have been, nobody really knows, but it wasn't done. So that's essentially why the deal.
I just want to point out that this refugee problem is an excellent example of why the UN and the West perpetuates a forever war with Israel and Palestine. Those refugees should have been resettled 3 years or 4 years after they became refugees, not 50 years.
No, they weren't resettled at all.
Well, let me finish. They should have been resettled. The refugee status should have gone at some point, but because the UN gives Palestinians some kind of magical forever refugee status, as well as like Fourth Geneva Convention protections, this reason is why. I mean, Arafat could have said something else, but this was the reason why he walked away from that peace agreement. And those refugees should have been resettled decades ago. They should not have been. They should not have been a topic of discussion. And this is one of the key reasons why the UN and the West needs to kind of move back a little and let Israel and Palestine work things out on their own.
I want you to respond to that. Hold on, just to clarify, right? To maybe rephrase that a bit, because I'm very interested in your response to this, Cypher, right? To what extent, if any, has this propping up of the Palestinian state, such as it is, by the West, by the UN, by other countries, saying, keep fighting, one day you'll eventually be free. To what extent, if any, has that contributed to that, as philosophical Zombie Hunter points out, a forever war status?
I think that there is some truth to that, but I'm not going to blame the UN for it. Instead, I'll blame the Arab states where the Palestinians are, because the Arab states never agreed to allow them to resettle or become citizens in those states. I don't think Israel is the only bad actor here. I've constantly said Hamas is a bad actor. Fatah has done some fucked up shit. And we can talk about before 1978, all the stuff that they did. The Arab nations have done fucked up shit. Iran has done fucked up shit. Like, I think everybody is kind of done wrong things here. And I think it's all contributed to this problem. So there is some truth to the fact that they weren't resettled, and that is an issue. But we also have to acknowledge that, typically speaking, after World War II, when the Geneva Conventions were ratified, they said that refugees should be allowed to go back to their countries, because Europe was dealing with a massive refugee problem on top of a massive economic downgrade because of the war. And they needed people to go back to where they were supposed to not only help rebuild those areas, but also to bring pressure off of the countries that had more resources, but not enough, because they had gotten destroyed in the war as well. So because of that, there's been this general idea that if you're made a refugee, you don't become permanent state status in an area if you don't want it, because you should be allowed to return after hostilities have generally been ended. So that's why I think that Israel not answering that question, especially since it's such a key component to the Palestinian identity, and because of the Nakba. And yes, I understand, for anybody who talks about it, I understand that Jews were also expelled from Arab countries in Iran for other reasons as well. But because that's such a core part of their identity, that has to be answered. And without an answer to that, there's not going to be any peace deal that can be reached.
Are people in the West Bank or Gaza still refugees?
People in the West Bank and Gaza, no, I would say that they're experiencing a different kind of oppression.
Well, but are they technically refugees? Sorry.
Oh, technically, you mean legally speaking?
Yes. Does UN?
I think the UN considers them to be internally displaced refugees.
So one day when Israel is conquered, they can go back home.
No, I don't. I think
Well,
no,
that's what
because
UNRWA is communicating, right?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Because
Say again?
if they were set, if that's what the UN is communicating to these Palestinians.
No, I don't think the UN is
you
communicating
are.
this at all.
Let me just finish my point. You are a refugee in Gaza. There's refugee camps in Gaza. It's called refugee camps.
Yeah,
right?
no, I
So
understand.
one day when Israel is beaten and destroyed, then you can go home. You're displaced. This isn't your home, even though you've been there for 50 years and several generations.
Sure.
You should be settled. You should not still have refugee status.
I think that I don't think they have like illegally refugee status that is propping them up. I think that they are
They
by
absolutely have refugee
definition.
status.
Okay, by definition, they are still internally displaced refugees, but the UN is not propping them up and saying, "Oh, eventually you'll be able to go back to your exact home that Israel took over," and that's not what the UN is promoting.
But
Now,
maybe that's
hold on,
the
hold on,
either.
stop. I understand this may not be what the UN is promoting, but there are plenty of people who are.
I mean, yeah, Hamas, but
Well, not just Hamas, right? There's a lot of people who are the March of Return, the Right of Return. That has been something that's been
the right of return is largely about the refugees that are in Jordan, Egypt, and others, not the internally displaced ones that are inside of Gaza and the West Bank.
But they are
Israel is not allowing, Israel is not allowing them to go back into those places either, especially in the West Bank, because they don't want the population to swell. Well, at least the right wing doesn't want the population to swell.
I understand, but these issues are all like connected.
I think they are connected, but I think that Zombie, from my personal perspective,
okay.
I think Zombie is putting too much credence to that, and I think that the internally displaced refugee ones aren't as necessary to solving the conflict as the ones that are outside.
Outside, fair enough. Okay, gang. I'm gonna cut this short, right? I know we had some technical issues. I wanted to get more time in here, but I do have like a hard out here very soon, and I want to give each of these wonderful gentlemen a chance to have a closing statement and tell people where they can find them. I know we didn't get to a lot, but there's just so much here. And so I want to give first to Philosophical Zombie Hunter, then we're going to let Cypher have the last word. But just give us your closing thoughts. And please answer within the closing thoughts for my curiosity. Is this a solvable conflict at all? Or is it just going to end in the death of one or the other? Go ahead.
I think it can be solvable. I don't think it can be solvable within the context that the West wants it to. I think we should look at how the Middle East is shaped up, how democracies have not really done well in certain Arab countries, and how emirates or like city-states in the Middle East have done much better, or tribe-based city-states or emirates. I think those will succeed better. We were talking at the beginning about a federated solution. This is something akin to that, where you have a tribe. Everyone is loyal to that tribe. It's a homogeneous population. Even now, like it's still like basically tribal. And once we respect that and respect that culture, I think that we can achieve peace, because the patriarchs of those tribes are interested in their grandchildren and the great-grandchildren being alive and not suicide bombing themselves and having a good future. So I think if you respect that culture and build a political framework around that, we will have peace.
Well, thank you for being here, Philosophical Zombie Hunter. I really appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll see you in the Discord arguing away. Cypher, please.
Yeah, thank you, Wick, for having me on again. And I apologize about my audio issues. This happened once before. I just have to figure out how to permanently fix it. But I appreciate the patience from everybody, especially the audience. So thank you. So I think that this is a solvable dilemma. It needs to be solved within the region with some minor help from the West. And that means it has to be done between the Palestinians and Israelis first and foremost. The Palestinians cannot be sidelined. The Abraham Accords sidelining Palestinians is not the approach to this. It's part of Hamas did what it did for various reasons, and one of those reasons is because they were getting sidelined, and they felt that if they didn't do something like this, they would be forever sidelined. And I think that's part of the reason as well. I'm not sure exactly what zombie means about the federated or the principality stuff, but I do think that it ultimately, in what could be the best outcome, is to have a single state solution that respects the autonomy of both sides in a kind of a United States federated sort of system. And it could be 3, it could be 2 states. Doesn't matter to me. It matters to what is going to actually create security for that. But it has to come between the Palestinians and the Israelis and answering the refugee question. And that can be answered in a number of different ways. I don't think that all the refugees need to be resettled. I think that if everybody got together and gave a bunch of refugees in Jordan and Lebanon and Syria and the UAE, like all these places, they just gave them money and said, here, now you're a citizen, here's the payment that we have. I think maybe that could also be part of the solution, because blood money is part of Islamic tradition. So, but that's where I'm at. As far as where you can find me, I have a YouTube channel. It's under Cypher Report. I haven't posted anything there recently. I got bogged down with work and despondent, but I'll be doing more videos here in a month or so. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you both for being here. Gang, if you like this content, if you liked what we had before as well, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got some great shows coming up. A lot of people asking, where's the Sec? Where's Cenk? Where's Cenk Uygur? That's Saturday. Saturday is that debate. I don't mean to yell at you guys, but come on, it was on the flyer. I don't know. I've never advertised this for Wednesday, I don't think. Check us out then. Thursday, tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, yes. It's July 4th, and I'm going to be celebrating July 4th, America Day, and not streaming. But Friday, we're going to have Adam Mockler on to take your calls. And then Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, we are going to have Cenk Uygur. We're going to have Joe Walsh. We're going to have Destiny. We're going to have Brianna Wu and myself. And we're going to be debating whether or not Biden should stay in the race. Till then, we're going to write out. Wait,
Give him money. Give him money. Give Wick money. Give Wick money. He's got to keep doing this because he gets good things. Give him money. Give him money.
I do. Do you plan on hosting any philosophy debates? If you have an interesting idea for a debate, bring it to me. And if a lot of people are interested, I'm willing. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.